right, everybody, we are here. Welcome to the newly branded channel, LTL Media. I want to welcome everybody in to the live show. Oh my God, I am so nervous. We are here live tonight in the studio. Still got a lot of things that we need to do here and button down some audio and camera stuff, but we're here. It's nice. I have a straight view of everybody now instead of my side view that I always had. It's a little difficult to look at the chat because I have to look down, but we're getting used to it here. I'm so nervous tonight, and I couldn't be happier. Like, I was just so emotional today. A little bit of echo in the room, so you have to kind of deal with that right now until we get some sound detonating up on the walls. But I promise you, it is going to get better in here. The big table is set up for live guests. I'm at head of table. I've been updating everybody as far as with videos and photos in the room, and I cannot wait to start getting some live guests in here and set up the second camera and get all that working. So it will happen. It's just taking me a little bit more time than I thought it was going to be. This is one of the craziest ventures that I've ever done in my entire life. I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of my own money into this because I wanted to pursue this dream of becoming a fully fledged media channel. I still have a lot to learn. I still have my chops to work on, but we're going to get there. And I am super, super proud and super excited. And I have to say that, I've had some really amazing people that have come into my life over the past really like 3 months that have helped me with this project. And I can't thank one person enough, but a woman that has come into my life, Casey, you've been the ultimate one that has pushed me. And I'm sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. Has pushed me through a lot, and we have struggled here in the studio. We've had a lot of struggling, tons of trial and error, but you have been there for me, and I really do appreciate every single thing that you have done to get to where we are now, and it's only going to get better. It's weird. I'm actually looking straight into the camera, so it feels a little bit weird, but awesome, just really awesome. So we're going to talk about Karen Read tonight. Obviously, we had jury selection that started yesterday. It was jury selection again as well. I have to be honest with you. I have not been able to catch up that much. Has been kind of dipping and dabbing in the John O'Keefe group, looking at Turtle Boys material, Tom CPU. You guys are all doing a great job. I saw Paul Cristoforo out there the other night, other day, killing it with some interviews. You're all doing amazing. And all the creators and all the podcasters that have been covering this story over the last couple of days and over the last 2 years, you've all done your part and you've all done an amazing job. And, I still can't believe that we are here selecting a jury and going to trial. But I have the utmost confidence that Karen's team is going to get it done. I think once this gets in front of a jury of her peers, a jury of 12, I really think it's going to be a hard time for them to convict Karen. She will be fully exonerated and walk out of that courtroom a free woman. And then finally, we can start looking to get true justice for John O'Keefe and arrest the people that are responsible for what happened to him. So let me just pull up the chat here. I know a lot of people here are in the chat. Let's see. Let me go back up here. Hang on one second. I got a quick text. Let's see. Awesome. Everything's going good. Did she say the echo? Just the echo. All right. So we're going to work on the echo. I know that's a big problem in here right now. We don't have anything up on the walls, but it is what it is. We'll get through it tonight. Let's see. I'm going to pull up some chats here. Erin, thank you so much. Just Debbie, thank you so much. Says it looks great. Tammy says it looks great. Thank you, Tammy. Hester's in the chat. Thank you for being here. Isaiah, what's up, man? How are you? Thanks for being here, bro. I appreciate it. Teresa, nice. May says it looks great. Look at you. Congratulations. Thank you. Let's see. Haven't been Cold and Covered said haven't been here in a while. Glad to be able to catch up with this one. Happy for you, Brian. Thank you. Let's see. No reason you're nervous. You got this. Did you like the new intro? Did you like the new intro? What did you think of the new intro? Sharon says it looks awesome. Thank you. Just Debbie says, we love and appreciate you. Thank you. Let's see. Linda, you're such a good man. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate that. Just Debbie said you're doing great. New place looks awesome. Thank you. Elise, thank you. Tsunami says it looks great. Awesome. I appreciate it. AK says congrats on the growth and all the best. And looks great. Cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And so let's keep busting through here. I have a show planned. Again, I'm going to kind of fumble my way through a little bit, testing out the new equipment. The beautiful thing is if you could be here in the studio, I have a huge screen TV in front of me that I can see everything and actually read now, which is nice because I'm old and I'm blind. And we'll just hopefully everything works smooth here. The only thing I'm having an issue is I like to see the chat, so I might add another monitor up above, but that's down the road. Anyway, but let's pull this article up. And this is from the Daily Mail, and we'll get into this today. So let's see. So glamorous Karen Reed on trial for murdering Boston cop winks at camera as she strolls into court past adoring fans. Quote, this chick thinks she's Miss America. Oh, dun, dun, dun. And thank you, Sharon, for the new on the intro. Yeah, I actually kind of threw that together, and I think it worked out really great. But I'm going to just let you know now, once we get the second camera up, you're going to be able to see all the angles here in the studio, and especially when we have live guests in, they're going to sit at the super table that I have right in front of me, which is awesome. And if you haven't seen any of the photos, you can check them out on my Facebook. Just look up LTL Media, and you'll be able to check it out. But anyway, let's see. So it says, Karen Reed, 44, has come under scrutiny for perceived flippant attitude during her ongoing murder trial. Oh, no. She's accused of running over her body. See how the media is already painting Karen? This is how the media, I get used to this, because this is how the mainstream media is going to paint Karen through this whole trial. And we know the truth. We know the truth about Karen. We know that she's not this person that they're trying to say that she's flamboyant and putting herself out there and she's, winking and stuff. She's confident. She is confident, and she's rooting that confidence, and she's trying to remain calm and confident. There's nothing wrong with that. If you are confident in your defense team and you believe that you believe in your defense team to defend you against frivolous bullshit charges, then there's nothing wrong with being confident going into that courtroom. I think that's going to help with a jury, because you are confident that you know the truth, that you did not do this. But the mainstream media is going to definitely paint her as this devil and this evil person. And we're already seeing it. I mean, we've been seeing it over the last couple of months, and we'll get into some of that today. I want to play some of the mainstream media clips so we can go through them here and talk about that. So supporters of Karen Reed have camped outside with court and signs, leading a judge to ban them from the court within 200 feet of the courthouse. Yes, I believe so, Casey. Yes. Confidence queen. I love it. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Thank you. Filthy Rat Bastard says, I love that name, by the way. It's a congrats, dude. New sit-up looks wicked cool. Thank you. We're getting there. Still have some things to iron out, but we're getting there. Yes, exactly. She eludes and did not kill him or kill anyone. Absolutely. 5 Cent Lucy says, in the new studio, I see awesome. Yes, we are here live in the LTL compound tonight. I wish you could just see it in here. I wish you could see it. V says 100% on your new intro. Thank you so much. Nelly says the place does look sweet. It's such a nice little spot. Again, we have some things to iron out. I still don't have any sound deadening on the walls, but we'll get there. Anyway, let's get back to the show tonight. So accused murder, Karen Reed sparked backlash over winking at cameras outside the court when she was standing for trial, allegedly running over her Boston cop boyfriend in a drunken fit of rage. She's winking at all her supporters. She loves the support that she's getting. And when someone is innocent, and when someone did not commit this crime, and all these frivolous charges have been brought up against her, and to see a crowd of people that believe in her, that have been there for the past 2 years supporting her, there's nothing, there's nothing wrong with her, giving a signal to her supporters, letting them know that, she loves that they're there, and she believes, in them being there. There's nothing wrong with that. She is accused of killing her cop boyfriend, Officer John O'Keefe, in January of 2022. He was found dead outside his police officer's friend's home hours after Reed dropped him off. Obviously, we know all of this here. I want to get into some of this. So it says the prosecutors contend that Reed struck O'Keefe's car. We know that already. As her trial begins this week, Reed received a slew of support from true crime fans and locals who have camped outside the courthouse with signs reading "Free Karen Reed." Excuse me 1 minute. I want to take my shoes off. I want to get comfy. I was so nervous going live tonight. And of course, right before I go live, the big TV in front of me, it ends up acting up. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me right now. You've got to be kidding me. So many have taken to wearing pink as the show of support for Reed, leading a judge to issue an order barring clothing or accessories that could be perceived as encouraging and banning them from coming within 200 feet of the courthouse. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. And we got some pictures of Karen there in the courtroom. Let's see. Reed has come under scrutiny for perceived flippant attitude in the courtroom, including winking at cameras and snacking during proceedings. God, I mean, you're in court all day. You get hungry. God forbid if you have a snack or a drink. I mean, come on. And there's that wink. Dun, dun, dun. There it is. There's the wink. There's nothing wrong with what she has done. To show support back to her supporters, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so let's see. On the second day of Reed's trial on Wednesday, she was seen flanked by a number of lawyers, cameras, and supporters who cheered her name as she smiled and waved. At one stage, Reed smiled at a camera as she flashed a large wink, sparking backlash online among all of her detractors. Dun, dun, dun. And here's the quote. Here's a quote. Happiest murder defendant in history, said one on Twitter. This chick thinks that she's Miss America. Along, another commented, it's a murder trial, not a traffic ticket she's fighting. Bad look to the jury. So we goes on and says, as of Wednesday, the second day of the trial, the court has continued jury selection with around 80% of potential jurors. The Smith amid further online attention around the case. And May says, I believe she winked at Tom CPU. She could have. Yeah, absolutely. Tom's been out there live streaming, killing it. I love it. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. All right. So we go on to say she spent the evening drinking with O'Keefe and a group of friends at the Waterfall Bar in the Canton Grill. And there goes my display. Hang on 1 second here. What happened here? What's going on? That we're going to have to work on. A little technical difficulty here. Hang on 1 second. Where did my article go? My article. Now I can read it. Yeah, I'm going to have to find out why that's doing that. I think the screen is timing out and it's kicking it out, but we'll work on that. Let me just get this up back on the big screen. Let's see. She spent a night drinking. We know about that. Reed, prosecutor said drinking. We know about that. Court documents revealed. We know all of that. And here is them Twitters, that Twittersphere. Here it is. The happiest murder defendant in history. This chick thinks she's Miss America. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see. And all the Free Karen Reed supporters. I love it. This is outside that buffer zone. Remember, there's a buffer zone. 200 feet, can't be within 200 feet. Let's roll down here. We know about the Alberts inside their home. So I think that's all we're going to really get out of this. All right, let's see this. As college professors argue, she was framed by police officers at the party prior to jury selection on the first day. The judge ruled that she would not stop her legal team from mounting a third-party culprit defense. And that is basically saying that she is not responsible for this murder and that they need to look other place, and we know where to turn. We just take a right, look up at 34 Fairview. I'm sure you're going to find the real perpetrator or real culprit inside that house. The tactic is used by attorneys to argue that someone other than the defendant committed the crime in question. The judge said, I'm going to give you a chance to develop it through relevant, competent, admissible evidence, but you cannot open with it. Okay, so again, we're now controlling the defense. Again, we're going to do things to help the Commonwealth, but I am so confident of Jackson, Yannetti, and Little. There's very, very, very smart and educated attorneys, and I'm sure that they will find their way around this. Another shot of Karen out here going into court yesterday, and with her legal team here, Jackson and Little. Let's see. Reed also has compiled a blockbuster legal team for defense, including attorney Alan Jackson, famed for representing actor Kevin Spacey when he was declared sexual assault charge in 2019. We know about that. So pretty much relevant stuff that we've already heard and known right now. All right, let's get into some of the videos that came up the other day, and let's talk about jury selections. This was the other day, and we'll get this from Court TV.
It's underway in the murder trial for Karen Reed. She's accused of using her vehicle to hit her Boston police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe, and then prosecution says she left him to die in the snow, but her defense team claims she's being framed, and it's all part of a police cover-up.
Oh, what a case this is. What a difficult job it's going to be this week to try to pick a jury.
Jurors, right. And speaking of, joining us from outside of the Massachusetts courtroom is Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson, who knows this story inside and out. Matt, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us. What is the latest on jury selection?
Julia and Ted, we are often running for jury selection in what could be a lengthy process. For starters, the judge was asking everyone in the gallery, these potential jurors, about 100 folks, whether or not they knew anything about the case. And almost every single person raised their number. And now they're being asked individual questions in judges' chambers right now. We can't bring you that. But during that moment, Karen Reed looked out at the gallery at these potential jurors. She looked over at the media and the box that we're in, and she smiled at us. This morning, as she was making her way into the courthouse, this again, her trial 2 years in the making, I asked her how she's holding up, how she's doing today, how she's feeling. Take a listen. How are we feeling today, Karen?
Good, Matt. Good.
As we know, this is a case that has divided this town outside of Boston. Karen Reed accused of killing her Boston police officer boyfriend back in 2022. The state alleges the Commonwealth by hitting him with her car and leaving him to die in the snow. Reed claims that O'Keefe was beat inside another police officer's home that they were at and attacked by a dog. Here are the charges that she's facing. Let's put those on your screen. Second-degree murder, leaving the scene after a collision causing death, and motor vehicle manslaughter. The Commonwealth plans to take 4 weeks for this trial for their presentation of evidence, and the defense, they're saying that they're going to call a lot of witnesses as well, including experts that we heard about today, and they're expecting 2 weeks. Ted, Julia?
Matt, what about the third-party defense? I know we watched that play out in the pretrial motion, the judge reserved ruling. Where are we at on that?
Ted, that was a big ruling this morning, a decision by this judge, and it could have big impact on the defense's case in chief, because she ruled this morning that that third party pointing the finger at another person for the death of John O'Keefe, it can't come in opening statements. As you mentioned, it was something that was argued over on Friday during that motions hearing. Take a listen.
And what I'm asking for in this motion is for the defendant, through her counsel, to actually provide any admissible or relevant evidence that pertains to third-party culprit, which to this point they have not done.
Welcome in, everybody. Thanks for coming in.
It is not our job to solve this case for the prosecution. It's our contention. They had the opportunity to do that.
So for anybody coming in tonight, just want to let you know, if you just come in, I am inside the new studio tonight. We are inside LTL Media Studios here. And if you haven't seen already, I have rebranded the channel. I think the media for me is going to spread a lot larger. I kind of wanted to get the true crime out of my name. I will still cover true crime. But the thing is, this is going to now open me up to a lot more possibilities, a lot more things that I can do here on this platform. So going forward, it will be Let's Talk Live Media. Absolutely love it. I'll probably just go by LTL because everybody calls me LTL anyway. But we're here, and it feels good. It's starting to feel like home. And again, this is just a little bit of a recap for people just coming in. You know, we have some audio and video stuff I still need to work through. We need to get things up on the wall to kind of sound deaden in here. I know I can hear a little bit of an echo in here tonight. It is a small room. So things that we'll work on. And I think once I get my media station working with the proper pro microphone, it's going to sound a lot better in here as well too. So again, I appreciate everybody's support. I appreciate everybody being here and going through this adventure with me, and just give you, this is something that's been on my mind for 2 years. This is something that I've wanted to do, is build my own podcast studio. And now it's going to give me the capability where I have 2 empty seats right in front of me. And now I can have guests in here, and I plan on doing that soon. Just going to get the second camera set up, and we'll go from there. So just bear with me. It will happen. It's just going to take a little bit of time. But I literally dragged my rig over here the other night, set it all up, and said, this is it. I'm going live in that studio tonight. I don't care. So again, I was really, really nervous going forward tonight, but I'm so happy that I did. And I feel like this is starting to feel like home, definitely start feeling like home. All right, let's go back to the video here.
But they failed. It is not our job to name a specific third-party culprit. We do not have to prove that Brian Albert or Colin Albert or Brian Higgins or some combination of them intended to kill John O'Keefe.
And you heard right there, the defense plans to point the finger at.
Let's just talk about this real quick. Tammy, Truth and Justice, with a 4.99er, says, good luck in your new studio. Looks and sounds great. Looking forward to your lives. I appreciate that. And you are the first official super chat under the new branded name in the new studio. And I appreciate that. I appreciate your support. And I appreciate everybody's support just coming in and hanging out. That's what we want to do here. I want to continue to keep growing this channel, get my chops down as a, as a reporter, as someone that wants to take this full time, and just keep improving. That's what I want to do here. Just keep improving. Okay. Thank you so much. And thank you, moderators. I don't thank you enough. Rogue, thank you so much for being here. Dina, thank you for being a moderator. You've been here for a very long time. I think over about 1.5 years, you both have. And then all the moderators that have come and gone, I appreciate you being here, because you take time out of your day to come here and support and do what's right for the chat. So thank you. And good old Nightbot in that chat. All right, let's keep playing through the video.
There's 3 other culprits saying that Karen Reed had nothing to do with the death of John O'Keefe, her boyfriend at the time. But the state, obviously saying that she is the reason why he is dead. The judge making that decision that their defense, they can't point the finger at others during their opening statements. So that was really big news coming out of this courtroom today.
That is huge news, and really limits what the defense theory is going to be in front of this jury. Now, Matt, there have been so much going on inside of the courtroom, but outside of the courthouse has had its own drama. What's the mood today, especially after that new rule that the judge had to put in place for those supporters of Karen Reed?
Right. And a lot of these supporters, Julia, we've seen dozens of people, up to a couple hundred people in front of the courthouse here in this a small community outside of Boston. Just for the motions hearings, a lot of people carrying signs, almost like protesting, doing chants, cheers for Karen Reed as she walks up the steps of the courthouse and into the courtroom. Well, there's that 200-foot rule now where they have to be across the street from the courthouse. They can't be in front of the courthouse steps. We were talking to a couple of the people that are the supporters of Karen Reed this morning. Here's what one woman told us.
There has to be exonerated. This is insane that this woman is being brought to trial. The evidence is insane for her innocence. She didn't do this.
So what are you looking forward to the most? Hearing opening statements or some of the evidence? What are you looking forward to?
I would like to see cross-examination of some unsavories on the stand.
What are you looking forward to?
I'm also looking forward to the defense cross-examining some of the people who we believe were the actual murderers of John O'Keefe and the people responsible for covering up. I think Karen has a great team, and part of the reason I'm out here today, I don't think that she's had a fair shake. I know it's not a trial yet, but the hearings and evidence, so I'm excited to see her have her day.
All right, real quick, I'm just going to pause this. Honey, thank you so much. Casey has gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much for the support. If you've just become a member, you can enjoy that membership by going on my homepage and watching all my members only content. I've been shooting video in here, building out the studio so you get kind of the first look as to what it looks like in here. We still got a long way to go, but everything is up and starting to function, and we'll get through it. I just wanted to bring in, let's see, I think I saw Scott in here. Scott, what's up, buddy? How are you? Good to see you. I saw you out there the last couple of days at jury selection. I am going to be out there next week, most likely Monday and Wednesday. I just haven't been able to catch up. I've been so busy building out the studio and working my full-time job and trying to find time in between for all my outside relationships. But I am back. I'm full force now, and I'm going to make the effort to continue to keep myself out there. It's just been, I needed a little bit of a break to get this kind of nailed down. So I will be back out there with the mix, everybody out there in the courtroom, outside the courthouse, getting some real footage for all of you. And I can't wait to get back there. So I appreciate it. Welcome, everybody. If you're just catching in, it's probably not going to happen. That'd be something you have to discuss with her. But she's like, I'm not going on camera. Maybe at some point down the road, but not right now. But welcome in, everybody. Yeah, we're live from LTL Studios tonight. Super exciting. And again, just catching up on Karen Read. I've been kind of out of the loop lately, and my head has been full-fledged in the studio. But we're getting there. We're getting there. All right, let's keep playing through this. Let's keep playing through here. Thank you.
Back out here live in Dedham, Massachusetts, just outside of Boston, you can see that the crowd a little lesser right now, but notice that a lot of people are wearing pink. That's by design. They're wearing pink of support of Karen Read. And that's because they can't be within 200 feet of the courthouse wearing any buttons or signs or holding any of those picket signs that we've seen time and time again. So they've ditched those signs and they're just wearing.
Hang on one second. I just dumped everything beside me. Hang on. Oh boy, getting used to all the new setup stuff where everything is. Can't slide my leg that far, can't put my leg out this far. Look out for all the cords that are everywhere. But we'll get it, we'll figure it out.
A color
all right.
for Karen.
Well, obviously, the judge doesn't want the jury pool to be overly tainted. Yeah.
Right.
Although if you live in that town, I think you've been exposed.
For sure. And just seeing the difference in where they are now, I mean, just shows you how much they wanted to be there, and now they're having to be in a different place. Great reporting, Matt. Thank you so much for all of that information.
Yeah, we'll be checking in with Matt throughout the day here as they go.
All right, let's go to. Wow, the camera does look really good. Ooh, I'm happy with it. All right, let's see. Let's go to the in courtroom first day. Let's hear about the 9 minutes that we could hear that day. It was like really weird. It kept cutting out back and forth. Let's pull this up on the big screen and play through this. Just bear with me a second.
I'll give the last sentence. I'm not going to give the other sentence because Ms. Reed's presumed innocent and has no burden of proof, and I would be assigning her a burden of proof, and I'm not going to do that. Based on the offer of proof on Friday, I am well within my rights pursuant to the case law to exclude the third-party culprit defense.
I saw a photo of her, and I don't know if this was true or not. Was she wearing pink on the first day going into court? I've been seeing a lot of pink lately. I'll definitely be wearing my pink when I go out to support on Monday and Wednesday when I go out next week. So I'll definitely be wearing pink, a pink tie or a pink shirt or something. But I heard Bev was wearing pink. She was, wasn't she? She was wearing pink. Robin, thank you so much. We're here in LTL Studios again. I had a lot to do. We're still going to hang some artwork up. This is not like the full build out, but it's looking great in here. It's starting to feel like home. Paula, thank you so much for becoming a new member. Thank you for becoming for supporting LTL Media. I appreciate that. All right, let's keep playing through this.
I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to give you a chance to develop it.
Thank you.
Through relevant, competent, admissible evidence, but you cannot open on it. So that's my ruling on that. I would like to see counsel at sidebar about the supplemental questionnaire.
There's a lot of sidebars. I saw that. I saw that, Lissa. Thank you, Microdots. I appreciate you, man. I love the support. Thank you. I really do. I appreciate it, and I appreciate everything you've done for here. You know, supporting LTL, retweeting my tweets, leaving comments on my videos. You've been a huge inspiration to me, and I wish I had the video editing capabilities of what you put together. It's such amazing stuff, and I hope that that's something that I can learn someday. But thank you. I appreciate the support. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's still a little bit to put together, but we're getting there. I'm just waiting for the sidebar to end. What the hell's going on? There was a lot of this. Let me speed this up. This is all this was? Sidebar? Seriously? This is the video that I had? Anyway, all right, we'll cut out of this. We'll cut out of this. That's what I had? That's all I had? All right, let's look at some of the key players. The key players from the key players. Here we go. Let's see. Court TV, key players in Karen Read murder case. This came out yesterday, so we obviously know about Karen. I'm not going to read. I'll actually read this little bio. So what their bio was saying, Karen Read and John O'Keefe were, let's see, Karen Read and John O'Keefe were in company of numerous people from January 28th to 29th, 2022, when a night of bar hopping ended with discovery of O'Keefe's body on a lawn of a Boston police officer's home, which were those people who told investigators became more closely scrutinized when Reed's lawyer began accusing them of participating in a plot to frame her boyfriend's death. Let's go down. I just want to see the key players in Karen Reed's murder case. And Payne moving forward says Karen's innocence is obvious. I completely agree. Double checking in says new place look great. Need to get some sound deadening foam for the walls. I have sound deadening in here. We're working on it. Again, I just wanted to come live tonight and get comfortable with the rig setup in here, and we'll be working on that. I have sound panels that I'm putting out, and there's nothing hung on the walls. That's why we're getting the echo in here, but we're working on it. It takes a little time. Dean Jam, thank you so much for the $4.99. You are the second official super chat here in the newly branded LTL Media and the newly branded studio. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being a moderator. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day and your night to come here and support me and keep the chat right and honest, you know, to keep all the ugly uglies out. Yeah, Ben, once I have the pro mic set up, that's going to cut out all this background noise too. So this is a condenser mic, so just picking up everything in here, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Okay. Let's see. Key players. John O'Keefe is the victim. So there's a lot to read here. I'm probably not going to go through all of this, but you know, we'll page through some of this. So key players says John O'Keefe's friends and relatives describe his 46-year-old victim as a loving uncle and loyal and generous friend and a dedicated police officer. The Boston Globe reports they express fear and tragedy of his death has been forgotten amid the circus atmosphere of the trial. Okay, born and raised in Braintree, and this is not anything to dismiss John, you know, his life or anything facts about his life. I just want to kind of page through some of this. Oh, wow. He was assigned to stations in Hyde Park. I lived in Hyde Park for a while when I was a kid, downtown in downtown Dorchester, and worked on the sex offender unit during his 15 plus years with the department. O'Keefe reportedly switched to an administrative role when he became a legal guardian of his niece and nephew and after his sister's death. O'Keefe and Reed had been dating for 2 years when O'Keefe died. Okay. Let's see. Karen Reed, we know about her. I want to see what they say about the Alberts. Brian Albert, owner of the Canton home where O'Keefe's body was found outside. Boston police officer and lifelong Canton resident Brian Albert said O'Keefe never entered his Fairview Road home on the night in question. And I remember this little tree that they put together. I mean, look at this. Look at all the connections. Look at the connections to every single person that was in the house that night. Albert's wife, Nicole, met family and friends at the Waterfall Bar and Grill, downtown Canton. Albert's invited everyone to their house. Let's see. Albert said they learned of O'Keefe's death the next morning from Jen McCabe, Nicole Albert's sister. Reed's defense claims early morning phone calls between Brian Albert, and his friend Brian Higgins suggest something was amiss long before O'Keefe's body was found. Through his lawyer, Albert was denied he was involved in O'Keefe's death with a plot to frame. Hang on one second. I'm just going to open up this door. Some airflow in here. Yes, the Dorchester Wahlburgers. Absolutely. You know, I'm going to be honest with you. I tried their burgers. I don't really feel impressed. Nicole Albert, wife of Brian Albert. Let's see. Nicole Albert said she arrived at Waterfall Bar. Let's see. Albert said she never met Reed before the night in question and only knew O'Keefe as an uncle or of her niece's friend. I mean, there's a lot here. Kevin Albert, brother of Brian Albert, Canton police officer, one of Brian Albert's 6 siblings. According to Reed's defense, he tried to act as intermediary for his brother and his brother's friend, Brian Higgins, after a federal grand jury subpoenaed went out. Kevin called Higgins after Higgins stopped returning Brian's calls and texts. There's only one way to interrupt that. Brian Albert was concerned Brian Higgins had flipped on him, Reed's lawyer David Yannetti said in a hearing. Kevin Albert's lawyer described him as a respectable 19 and a half year veteran of the Canton Police Department. Any insinuating that he participated in a conspiracy is untrue. Yeah, I'm not really a big fan. And didn't really hit the spot for me. Wasn't that good. Scott says, my favorite witness for the defense on their list is DA Meatball Morsi. That will be awesome to get Fat Cat Slob Corruptoid on the witness stand. I mean, the cross-examination of the witnesses is going to be one for the ages. I think that Jackson United Little are going to shred witnesses on the stand. So Jen McCabe, here we go, sister-in-law of Brian Albert and wife of Matthew McCabe. Jennifer McCabe said she only knew John O'Keefe through her daughter, who was a friend of O'Keefe's niece. McCabe came to know Reed through John O'Keefe. Let's see. It talks about the waterfall here. McCabe's were among those who went from the bar to the after party. Jen McCabe invited John O'Keefe to Reed to the after party, texting O'Keefe the address and where to park. Let's see. McCabe and her husband said they saw Reed's car arrive at Albert's residence, then leave. She said she did not see Reed or O'Keefe exit the car or enter the house. McCabe said that she and her husband left Brian Albert's residence at 1:30 a.m. and gave rides home to 2 friends of Brian Albert Jr. Reed's defense claims an analysis of McCabe's cell phone suggests she left closer to 1:47 a.m. and passed John O'Keefe's home on her way home. Around 4:53 a.m., Reed called McCabe from O'Keefe's niece's phone looking for O'Keefe. Reed and McCabe drove to Reed's friends, Carrie Roberts, to the Alberts' home, and they arrived around 6 a.m. to find O'Keefe's body in the snow. Let's see. After discovering the body, McCabe said she and Reed prayed the first Our Father together inside Reed's car. McCabe said Reed asked her to Google something to the effect of, how long do you have to be left outside to die of hypothermia, which I think is the biggest fucking lie in all of this. You have to tell me. We heard the 911, well, we've heard a recording of the 911 call, that in that panic that we hear Karen Reed in a panic, absolute terror, absolute horror. And in that moment, of trying to revive John, that in that very moment, she's going to stop and just say, can you do me a favor? Take out your phone. Can you Google how long does it take for someone to die in hypothermia? I don't see it. I absolutely don't see it, because we know who truly made that search at 2:23 a.m. We know where that search has been proven by the FBI. 5 different extractions. 5 different extractions. Proves the 2:23 a.m. search did happen. Goes on to say McCabe said Reed asked her to Google something. Yep, we always said that. Reed's defense, however, claims McCabe's cell phone data suggests the search occurred at 2:27 a.m. Reed's defense claims McCabe tried to delete the Google search. Again, this is a lot of the history that we know. They talk about Chris Albert here. All the links. Reed's defense portrays Chris as the direct link to the lead investigator, Michael Proctor's family. Yeah, a good question, Casey. This has been my question. When are the feds going to step in? When are we going to hear from the feds to stop this bullshit trial? When are we going to hear from them? Joshua Levy, when are we going to hear from you? When are you going to stop this? You actually put out there that in your good conscience, you could not see this go to trial. Now we're at trial. We're here. We're at jury selection. You need to step in and stop this. Do your job. You know it's right. You know what happened inside that house. You have all the details. We haven't heard everything yet. We haven't heard anything yet. We've just heard a tip of the iceberg. You have all the details. You have the geofencing. You've done the independent investigation of the reconstructionists, 3 PhDs that said that Karen Reed's SUV did not hit John O'Keefe, and John O'Keefe's injuries are not consistent with being hit by Karen Reed's SUV. Excuse me. Let's go up to the chat. Brendan says, Levy needs to stop this and clear Karen's court records. I absolutely agree. 100%. This needs to stop. It's gone too far. So Julie Albert talks about Julie. Again, I'm not going to go through all of this. It's a lot of reading. But if you want to hear, let's see Brian Higgins. Higgins, an agent with the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms who has an office in the Canton Police Department. Higgins was at the Waterfall Bar in the Alberts home for the after party on the night of question. Yeah. What was the text? Yeah. Oh, well, no. Well, remember that text that Higgins sent? 2 weeks before O'Keefe's death, Higgins said Reed unexpectedly kissed him on the lips when Higgins was at O'Keefe's house to watch a football game. Well, have we ever thought that maybe Higgins tried to turn himself on to Karen? Maybe it was the other way around. We know that Higgins left that night of the Alberts resident and went down to a military base on Cape Cod and destroyed his phone and destroyed his SIM card. What else is he being untruthful about? Maybe Higgins tried to put himself on Karen. And personally, I don't think this has anything to do with anything that's going on. I don't really care about people's personal relationships, what they do, who they kiss, who they sleep with. What does that have to do with this? But I think, in my opinion, Higgins is doing this to take the heat off him. Because I saw the way that Unetti was painting Higgins the other day at the last hearing on that Friday. There was a lot of Higgins talk during that. So it says, let's see. Higgins at O'Keefe's house to watch a football game. Higgins and Reed began exchanging texts expressing a mutual liking for each other, with Reed inviting Higgins over to her house at least once. It's not clear if Higgins interacted with Reed when the two were both at the Waterfall Bar and Grill. Reed's defense said, actually, it is clear, because didn't Yannetti say on Friday that Higgins did not have any interaction with John and Karen when they were there? Reed's defense said Higgins totally told investigators he did not speak to anyone the morning after he left the party, but the federal probe of Reed's case suggested otherwise. I want to make sure that we understand that. The federal probe into this case suggests otherwise. Suggests otherwise. Brian Albert called Higgins around 2 a.m. and Higgins called him back, but the two did not speak. Both men said the calls were butt dials. So both guys, what would be the coincidence? What is the chances of that? What is the coincidence of that? Oh, they were just both butt dials. Everybody was butt dialing that night. Everybody's phone was butt dialed. Just kind of like, what was it? Everybody was kung fu fighting. You know that song? Everybody was kung fu fighting. Everybody was butt dialing. That they placed from their respective beds. So they were both in bed. They were both butt dialing each other. I mean, come on. That's a lot of butts. Yeah. It's amazing, Ben, isn't it? Both destroyed phones and both butt dialed. Both destroyed their phones and both butt dialed. Because everybody was butt dialing. Casey says I can't with the butt dial excuse. I never butt dialed someone with an iPhone, especially not at 2:22 a.m. That's a great point. I don't think I've ever butt dialed. I've gone to my contacts before and hit something wrong and said, shit, I didn't mean to call you. Or you text someone wrong, the wrong person. Absolutely. I call, Scott says I call male friends at 2:20 a.m. Not all the time. All the time. Not, yeah. Who calls their male friend at 2:20 a.m.? Oh, gosh. Higgins also said that he had just ignored a call from the former police chief, Kenneth Berkowitz, that morning and later found out that O'Keefe died death from Albert. All right. So again, I don't want to go. Actually, I want to talk about Julie Nagel and Brian Nagel as well, too, a little bit here. Let's see. Julie Nagel was at Albert. Ryan Nagel, here we go. This is interesting. Ryan Nagel said his sister called him on the night in question asking for a ride. A friend drove Nagel to Fairview Road, and they pulled up in front of the house at the same time. Sorry, I need glasses. At the same time as a mid-sized black SUV resembling Reed's. He declined his sister's invitation to join the party and left. As he drove, this is very important. As he drove away, Nagel said he looked inside the SUV and he saw a white woman alone in the driver's seat. So where is John? John's inside the house. Nagel also told police that he didn't hear or see activity suggesting people were arguing inside the SUV. That's the witness that the Commonwealth wants to go away, because that guy is telling the truth. Ryan Nagel is telling the truth, in my opinion. And here again, all the people inside the Albert's home on January 29, 2022. There's a lot of McAlberts going on in there. A lot of McAlberts. A lot of McAlberts. So then we have Michael Proctor. We know all of the links to him. This is a great little thing that Court TV put together. Again, there's a lot of reading. I'm not going to go through all of it. I wanted to skim through it. Colin Albert, again, we heard Yannetti talk about Colin Albert during the hearing the other day, the taunting. We heard about photos being taken on John O'Keefe's steps while he was away on vacation, being taunted. Kenneth Berkowitz, they talk about Kenneth Berkowitz. And then look at it, Aiden Carney, blogger. He's not a blogger, he's a fucking journalist. And Reed supporter accused of intimidating witnesses. Oh. And you can go on to read about his little bio here that they got. But that's pretty cool. If you haven't read that, I'll drop the link here in the chat. You can check it out and read through it. Butt dialing and talking shit. Yeah, exactly. Butt dialing and talking shit. All right. So let's get through here. We got a lot of stuff I want to go through tonight. I'm in it. I'm in it to win it tonight. We're gonna be here for a little while. Let's see. I'm looking at the chat. All right, let's pull this up. So Ted Daniels joined WEI the other day after the jury selection. Let's play this here and see what Ted Daniel had to say, calling the Greg Hill Show.
Karen Reed, who is the former Bentley University professor accused of murdering her boyfriend, John O'Keefe, who was a Boston police officer. If you don't know the circumstances, they were out together with a group of people at a bar, went back to a house party. Karen Reed maintains that she dropped John O'Keefe off and he went into the party. The Commonwealth maintains that she backed into him and he died as a result of that. And they have charged her with murder. And I would like to welcome our official correspondent when it comes to the trial to the show, Ted Daniel of Fox 25. Hey, Ted, how are you?
Good morning. I feel like I'm getting ready for 7 weeks of battle here. This is people are so intense on both sides of this case, like I've never seen before.
I was going to ask you, you were our
real quick. I just want to recognize, let's see. I want to recognize this. Thanks for the Cash App. Pierre Fisher, thanks for the $5 on Cash App. Thank you so much for the support. Let's see. I don't know. Okay, let's keep playing through here.
official correspondent on the old show on a trial. I don't remember what it was.
It was Aaron Hernandez.
Yes.
It was the
yes,
and I'm trying to remember. It was the first one. I think it was both. It was so he went to trial in Bristol County. Also went to trial in Boston. So I think we did both, and that was another one that just had day after day. It was something new.
But from a focus when it comes to the public's interest, have you seen a trial? I guess maybe the Hernandez trial comes close, but I have not seen a trial here in this state that has so many people questioning what's going on, other than this.
And I think that's largely due in the part now that you have social media, you have YouTube bloggers, you have so many people who can, from anywhere in the world, can get interested in a case and can start reading the court documents and providing their own analysis. And there's a huge audience for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is what's fueling, I think, this intense interest, because you have so many people who realize that this is such an interesting case.
Is Fox 25 broadcasting the trial? Is anybody broadcasting the trial as it begins today?
Yeah, we're going to be streaming it. So we have a couple of streams on our website, and it's going to be live during one of the streams. It's one of the things, I think Court TV is the pool camera. So that means they're responsible for having someone in there to record it. And, with this trial like this, they've already pre-mic'd every single location in the courtroom. And there's been weeks of emails going back and forth between the court and reporters and the television stations about the rules, about what you can and cannot do. And they had, they set a lot of restrictions just to make sure that, things stay orderly.
I don't remember a time where a judge like this judge ruled that no one can protest.
It's crazy.
For either side.
Buffer zone.
In the general area of the court, which is the Norfolk Superior Court in Dedham. What's the distance that they must stay away today and throughout this trial?
Yeah, so the prosecution wanted 500 feet. The judge settled on 200. And I guess there has been 2 cases prior, including at least one in Norfolk County, where there was a similar buffer zone. So I think the idea behind that is you have all these people who've been out in front of the courthouse with Free Karen Reed signs and clothing. They rent the, that truck that drives by with the big screen on it.
Yes.
That drives around the courthouse as well. So I think the idea is okay, the jury has to enter through that same door. And if that jury's going by, hundreds of people protesting every day, they're feeling that the jury may, that may impact their thinking.
So they will begin today in trying to impanel a jury. What?
And I was going to say, I don't know if it's because I'm just obsessed with the case, so I believe everybody else is, but how difficult will it be for them to get unbiased jury members?
Somebody who hasn't heard about this,
right?
They could get Wiggy.
Well, Wiggy knows a little bit, though.
I know a little bit, but I'm like so confused in the sense of what is the prosecution's main point of evidence saying that she did do it? And then what's the defense's?
What's the main point of evidence?
Yeah.
Essentially, it is the taillight fragments that they say they found, correct, Ted?
Yeah. Yeah. And they say they have his DNA on the taillight, and they say that there were microscopic pieces from the taillight found in his clothing.
Thank you, Elise.
That's pretty good.
But other than that, there's no eyewitness,
right,
who saw her, who saw her do it.
Right.
Good point.
There are obviously some conflicting issues when it comes to those who were a part of that event that evening. The defense attorneys on Friday brought up Brian Higgins, who is an ATF agent who was a witness, but then, and again, this is what the defense is going to claim during this trial, I guess, then went to a military base on Cape Cod and destroyed his phone, including the SIM card, which Ted would seem like an odd thing for somebody to do.
Yeah, I would say.
No, that's shady. That's absolutely shady. And it doesn't make any sense. And remember, we're getting a lot of this information about, so that, the prosecution has identified all these people that they say are witnesses in the case. They're witnesses for the prosecution. Well, you have a separate federal investigation that took place. The feds, got wind that something might not be right here. And so they impaneled a federal grand jury to investigate law enforcement and to try to get to the bottom of what happened. And although we know no resolution from that, they turned over 3,000 pages of documents from their own investigation, which the defense wants to be allowed to talk about during the trial. So that's, I guess, one of the things that gives this whole cover-up credence thing, it gives this whole, idea of some sort of cover-up credence, is the fact that, the feds got onto this case, and typically they're not just going to say, oh, we want to go investigate a case in Canton,
Ted, watching the videos coming out of the courtroom on Friday, I always find it interesting to watch the other people, the other main players sitting behind Karen Reed or the prosecution. For you, how important is it your job to make sure that you are taking the temperature of the room? I can't imagine being a family member of John O'Keefe sitting in that courtroom and hearing the different details that came out on Friday.
Yeah, and John O'Keefe's family has gone through a lot of loss. They lost their daughter and her husband. So John was taking care of his niece and nephew. So this is like amazing loss for them, and I think that it's so important. I think that people understand that, this is their family member. This is who they lost. And, they have to deal with this sort of with all the circus atmosphere going on around them.
So the case, they'll start today to get a jury. They expect that it may be 6 or 7 weeks until both sides have presented their case. Commonwealth will try to prove that she backed over him and that resulted in his death. The defense will suggest that there is a cover-up going on, and that the Mass State Police are involved, the district attorney's office is involved, and that others were responsible for his death. That's essentially what's going to happen here over the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, so the defense is trying to get in what's called it's a third party culprit defense, so that they can say, no, she didn't do it. These people did it. And during Friday's hearing, they named 3 people who, for the first time, you got the feeling that these are the 3 that they want to say were the ones who were either the ringleaders or the one who actually, they claim, attacked John O'Keefe. But we're still, as far as I'm aware, we're still waiting for the judge to even allow them to bring in that third party culprit defense, because that has to be approved by the judge.
Yeah.
Can the dog be brought up during trial? Where the dog is, how they put the dog down? Was the dog involved with the attack? Is that going to be able to be brought in?
I think the defense is I don't think they're going with that theory anymore, because I think they did. My understanding is that there was testing that looked at.
Real quick, TK, thank you so much for the 1999 super chat. I appreciate your support. Thank you so much. It helps support the channel and helps support LTL Studios. Thank you so much.
The wounds on John O'Keefe's arm. So if you look at the autopsy photos for people who have been following this case, there are what some people say are dog bites on his arm. And my understanding is they did this testing at a lab in California, and there was no dog DNA found within the samples that were taken. So the defense has, that seemed to be kind of a very important route that the defense was going to take sort of initially, but that is, you haven't really heard a lot about that, in the last few months.
If they had an autopsy, right? And if there are
the medical, do you want me to answer your question? The medical examiner said that they could not determine the cause of death.
No, but
that's the official, correct, Ted?
Yeah, the manner of death, correct. The manner of death could not be determined. The cause of death was blunt impact trauma and hypothermia.
Right,
but the manner of death, meaning
right,
vehicular or
murder,
otherwise,
suicide,
could not be determined.
Well, no, the only reason.
B13, thank you so much for the Cash App donation. I appreciate the $5. Thank you. I have a QR code up there. If you want to Cash App me, you can use that QR code, or Nightbot will be dropping all the various links that you can hook up on. And if you want to donate or super chat, memberships, whatever you want to do, I do appreciate it. All right, let's get through Greg Hill here. We'll keep going on. I got a lot of stuff planned for tonight.
So I'm asking because if there are people that think that he might have been beat up, were there any facial lacerations on?
Oh, he had bruising on his hands.
No, but
when you look at the pictures, and I haven't seen enough autopsy photos of people who've been hit by a car. But when you look at the autopsy photos, it looks like he got beat up.
Yeah.
Okay.
What you would imagine is what it looks like.
Okay.
So, all right, Ted Daniel, what time does day one get underway this morning?
9 o'clock is when court begins. So I'm getting in the car and heading there now.
All right. Well, thank you. And you'll join us throughout the trial with any interesting updates. Thank you so much. And
absolutely,
we will be streaming it. Courtney and I, at least, will be streaming it all day today on Fox 25 on the website. So thank you, Ted Daniel.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I mean, it is. Why are we even here right now? Why are we even in this position? Why is Karen in this position? Why are we already through day 2 of this jury selection? We shouldn't be here. This should not be happening. The feds should be stepping in and stopping this. When are the feds going to step in? That is the question. But if they don't, like I said, my friends, I am fully confident that Karen Reed's defense team will show the truth and get her exonerated and get a jury of 12 convinced that she did not commit this murder to Officer John O'Keefe. I truly believe that. All right, let's see what else we have here. Let's go over to Fox. Fox. This was the other day. And let's play through this one here. Let's go.
Now, is get to one of these major trials that we really haven't had a chance to cover just yet here on Live Now. Live Now, look there over Dedham, Massachusetts. That's where we're going for our next story. It is the high-profile Karen Reed murder case. So remember, she is the woman accused of killing her boyfriend, who was a Boston police officer. We have some video there. Let's take that. So this is what we know. The story is so tragic, but here is where it gets so interesting. Reed's defense argues that she's being framed and that her boyfriend was beaten inside the home of a retired Boston police officer. So we're going to break all of this down about what we know.
Again, I wanted to, excuse me, I'm going to cough here. I'm going to hit the cough button. I wanted to go through just what the mainstream media has been talking about over the last couple of days. That's why I've been pulling these up and just listening, to see how they're going to portray Karen in the media. Obviously different media outlets are going to portray her, differently. Some are going to paint her in a light that she did not kill John O'Keefe. Some are going to paint her in this light, like we saw in the first article from Court TV, that Karen Reed is this cold-blooded killer, and she's smiling outside the courthouse and standing, winking at her supporters, and she's being flamboyant. So it's good to see, I think, on both sides, how this is being portrayed in the media. And we all know how, we look at Karen. We look at Karen as a very confident, smart woman that did not have anything to do with murdering John O'Keefe, that she knows that she's backed by multitudes of supporters all around the world, and knows that she did not do this and that she has been framed for this heinous crime. All right, let's keep
about the case with our friend, legal analyst Nicole DeBoard, who joins us with more. Nicole, thanks for being with us. I know you've been kind of monitoring this as well. The trial just kicked off this week. I believe we're still in jury selection. I want to ask, though, the trial seems very messy. A lot of he said, she said, so to speak, and a lot of speculation online. How difficult will it be to find an impartial jury in this part of Massachusetts when these communities are so close-knit, this story is so high profile and so sad?
It's incredibly sad, and it has already proven to be quite difficult.
Well, Casey, didn't you say that 11 were picked today? So we have another wow, we only need one, right? One to secure the jury, but they pick alternates. How many alternates do they usually pick? Is it 4 or 5? Because don't they usually pick 16? Am I right about that? Let's see. Number 7 was picked today, so now we have 11. You need 12 for a jury, but don't they pick 4 alternates? Yeah, that's what I thought. So that would seat what, 16? 5 more people. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. All right, let's keep playing through this.
Difficult for them to find jurors who either don't know about the case, because almost everyone in the community or a significant number of people that they've called to potentially be jurors in this case have responded to questions by the court that they have heard about the case. And of that group, many of them had responded that they had an opinion about the case, and even that opinion went so far as to be a bias. So it is proving to be difficult already. It has been a trial or a case, if you will, before the trial even began, with many volatile issues and opinions which were discussed in the public eye.
Yeah, and let's go over some of the nuts and bolts of the case here, because I think this is the first time many of our viewers are coming to this trial. So she's pleaded not guilty to several charges, including second-degree murder. The state is using her cracked right taillight as evidence. So is that enough, do you think, or do you expect other evidence to be presented? And how does that factor into the story overall?
Well, I think it factors into the story because they're using this as the piece of evidence, if you will, that connects her somehow to this idea that she, in some drunken state after leaving a bar, backed up over her husband and left him to die in the cold.
Husband.
That is essentially what the prosecution is saying.
That's not her husband. That's her boyfriend. But again, a lot of these legal analysts that they bring in, they kind of just throw a quick sheet at them and say, "Can you talk about this?" They might get something just maybe an hour or two before that, but definitely not her husband.
While on the other hand, the defense team is saying this is absolutely not true and that there was a cracked tail light either by somebody else or from some other thing that happened, and that this was completely a setup done after her husband was beaten badly in the home of another police officer who then had the means and ability to cover up the crime.
Wow. So just to also kind of keep setting the scene here and the stage, this happened in early 2022. Reed alleges that her boyfriend, O'Keefe, his name, was beaten up by another retired Boston police officer. She even makes that claim during her arrest, while she is getting arrested. And it's heard on body camera footage as well. So since she is the only one charged in this, does the other officer she's accusing even have to appear, even have to defend himself? Obviously, you know, he's a big factor in this because she has lofted this accusation against that officer, that retired officer. What is his role going to be in all this, if any?
It's possible and likely, in fact, that he will be a witness in this case, potentially called by the prosecution, where the prosecution will make an effort to show that this person had nothing to do with a beating or ultimately the death of her husband. On the other hand, I think we can expect some grilling cross-examination by the defense team if, in fact, the prosecution does call one of the individuals that they've already said their theory was caused the injuries to the decedent in this case, to Miss Reed's husband.
So that retired police officer, his name Albert, his attorney says his client has nothing to hide and is not subject of a federal investigation. FBI analysis of the phone, though, of his sister-in-law shows a web search. In that web search, how long to die in the cold. Hours before they called 911 to report O'Keefe's body. So that was made, that Google search, that web search, hours before 911 is called. Is that enough, or is that just circumstantial to cast doubt on Albert's alibi, so to speak? I mean, some would say, or someone, you know, liken this, is that a smoking gun? I mean, that's quite obvious.
It's certainly a tangle of evidence in this case. Keep in mind, the only person on trial in this matter is the defendant, Miss Reed, and she is the person who is having to defend herself really through whatever happens in court. Now, she doesn't have to testify, and her lawyers don't have to ask a single question, but her team will be doing all they can to show that there is another cause of death for Miss Reed's husband. And even though this other witness doesn't have to defend himself because he's not on trial, you can expect that he will be cross-examined thoroughly about exactly what went on in the evening and the hours up to finding the body of Miss Reed's husband.
I mean, Nicole, it does seem like the defense really has their work cut out for them because there's so many claims at play that they will have to do their best to try to prove, you know, her innocence in all of this. Of course, she's presumed innocent beyond a reasonable doubt here, but won't the prosecution have to establish a motive into why she wanted her partner dead?
Yes, although this is a manslaughter allegation, which is essentially without the same type of intent that's required for a murder, or, you know, even if they decide that she's responsible for a lesser amount of culpability, you know, that you still have this tangle of theories that we can expect the defense team to present. You know, and one of the decisions the judges already had to make is whether or if to how much to limit this theory that there is a third party culprit. In other words, this other person who's responsible for the death instead.
So, you know, to that point, though, do you think she's going to be the only one charged in this, or is the window of opportunity still open that they may charge more people in connection to this? I mean, you know, investigators, you know, I mean, they never tell the public when the case closed, so to speak. They usually say the investigation is ongoing. Do you think the likelihood will present itself that more people could be charged in this? And if that's the case, if that happens, how is Karen Reed's case different?
You know, it's possible.
How about just the people that are responsible for this? not just more people, how about the people that are responsible for
Well,
this?
theoretically, that somebody else could be charged, although this case has now been pending for a significant amount of time. You've had federal and state agencies do their part in ultimately bringing this evidence to make it available ultimately for jury to hear. It seems unlikely that there will be others charged. I mean, can we say for certain that no one will be charged? No, that's not something we can know for sure. But at this juncture, it appears that the prosecution really is interested in Miss Reed and only Miss Reed for criminal responsibility.
I don't know if you have any experience with, a defense and their client claiming that they have been framed for a crime that they have been charged with. How do those claims usually hold up in court? Can a judge be amenable to those claims based on the facts presented? Is it taken seriously, is what I'm trying to say.
It's a difficult defense in many circumstances, but this is a unique case because the decedent is a former police officer. And the individuals that Ms. Reed is saying framed her are also police officers who were connected to them in a relationship, a friendship, or as colleagues in such a way that you might not normally see in many cases, right? So where you have someone setting up a framing, these potential framers have the know-how, is what the defense team is going to be saying.
I got a question for the chat. Do you think that when people look at this case, from an outside perspective, when people look at this, not knowing what we know in this case, do you think that people look at this and you ask them what, you present what we know. We present the lies, the corruptions, and cover up to them. We say, okay, this is what happened. And we give our interpretation, we give our knowledge and the facts that we know what happened. Do you think that when a person hears that they're so afraid to say, maybe in their mind they're going, oh my God, this is like it is a crazy cover up. They killed him, they killed John. They dragged him outside. They left him there on the lawn. Do you think that because these are police officers that they're afraid to admit and say, yes, this is a cover up. Yes, they are framing her. Yes, they are lying. Do you think that there is a group of people out there that are just afraid to step forward because they think that all law enforcement are honest? And believe me, I'm one of the most pro law enforcement people. If something happens to me, I'm calling 911 right away and saying I need help. But do you think there's a certain sect of people out there that they truly know in their mind that Karen Reed is completely innocent, but they're afraid to say it because police officers are being implicated in this crime? Let me know in the chat. Give me a yes if you believe that, or give me a no if you don't agree with me. I have a strong feeling there is a lot of people out there that feel this way, in my opinion. All right, let's go back to the video here. Let me know.
All right, Nicole DeBoard, thanks so much. And it seems like that's why this is so high profile, so public, because many in the community there must feel like it could happen to anyone. That seems to be kind of the prevailing sentiment, right?
It sure does. And it seems like Ms. Reed has said from the beginning that she absolutely wasn't responsible, and she pointed to some other individuals who might be.
All right, Nicole DeBoard, as always, can't thank you enough for your insight into these high-profile cases and trials, and we'll check in soon.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and it's probably particularly strong, that theory or that way of thinking, in Canton. I'm sure it is. I'm sure there's a lot of people that live in Canton that are very much afraid to say anything, to say the truth. I did know, or I feel like something did happen at 34th Fairview that night, and not what they're trying to say that Karen did, accusing Karen of what she did. But I think there is a certain sect of people out there that are very afraid, and I'm sure there are a lot of Canton residents that are afraid to say something because of the reputation about the McAlberts in Canton. All right, let's hear from Aiden. Aiden on Ashley Banfield the other night. Congratulations, Aiden. Good stuff. Not a particularly long segment, but let's play through this. Let's see what Aiden had to
Being
say.
here, this town
Excuse me.
seems like crazy divided. Is that an assessment that's accurate?
I wouldn't even say it's divided. A lot of people say that, but when I go into Canton and I hold peaceful protests outside of Chris Albert's pizza shop on the busiest street in town, all I get are honks, people screaming, free Karen Reed, we support Turtle Boy. So I think it's kind of a misnomer that the town is divided. There's like 50 McAlberts, and then everybody else who knows that John O'Keefe was murdered inside 34 Fairview Road by the Alberts and left out to die, and that Karen Reed was framed. This is a fact, not an opinion. It happened. The evidence is undeniable that shows that.
Well, and I just, for the purposes of this program, have to say that's an allegation that has not been proven, and yet Karen is on trial. I do want to ask you this. Why do you think that the police, came after you and charged you with witness intimidation, among other things? Like, they really threw the book at you. And I think you were even incarcerated for a while and had to wear an ankle monitor based on your protests and your efforts to show people other sides of the evidence.
Because I'm too effective. The journalism is too effective that we've been doing here. We've uncovered things that the police have attempted to hide. For instance, they attempted to hide the identity of the plow driver. They lied in their reports and said that Fairview Road was not plowed that night. I went down and tracked down the plow driver myself, Lucky Loughran, who told me that there was nobody on the lawn of 34 Fairview Road when he went by at 2:30, which means that Karen Reed could not have hit him at 12:30. He also told me that he had spoken with the FBI about this already, and that there was a Ford Edge parked right next to where the body was found 3 hours later at 3 a.m. 3 members of the Albert family own a Ford Edge. I'm asking questions like that. I'm tracking down people involved in this case. I'm doing the work that the state police are intentionally covering up. And for that reason, the same corrupt cops who I've been exposing filed these bogus witness intimidation charges against me, which is nothing more than legally protected constitutional speech, which journalists have been doing for decades. And they have weaponized this. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've only got like 30 seconds left, but I got to ask you this. Some of the injuries are very weird. Mr. O'Keefe has injuries sort of above the neck and shoulders, which maybe doesn't jive with being hit by a car. He's got a gash in the back of his head, which would be a lot of blood, yet not a lot of blood found at the scene. He's got what looks like dog bites on his arm. And I understand that the house, there was a dog that lived in that house. All of this, as the FBI is investigating the investigators, again, about 20 seconds left. Has the FBI approached you and asked what you've been able to dig up?
Our attorneys have spoken with the FBI about both my case and the Reed case and ways in which they're connected. The FBI knows that John O'Keefe was not killed inside that house. Was not killed outside the house, that he was killed inside the house, that he was inside the house, that his Apple Health data shows him going up and down 3 flights of stairs while he was inside that house. So they absolutely know. They've convened a federal grand jury.
That's fascinating.
Yes, in due time, the people who are responsible.
Thank you for watching. Go to News Nation now.
Let the man speak. Let the man speak, damn it. Good job, though. Great job on Banfield. Really, really good job, Aiden. Yeah. All right, so let's see here. We have, let's get into Vinny. Vinny. And I just want to, again, welcome everybody in. Thank you for being here on my first live stream from LTL Studios. And we obviously had the name change over the last couple of days. So we are now known as LTL Media, or you can just call me LTL. I love LTL. LTL stands for Let's Talk Live, because that's what we do. We talk live here. We hang out and we just talk live. And I think the name change is going to widen up the platform, allow me to do many, many things over here. But I will look forward to obviously continue to report on this over the entirety of the case and see it through completion. And I think, actually, I know when we get to the other side of this trial, if this trial goes on, that Karen Reed will be completely exonerated of all these frivolous charges that have been brought up against her. And the real people that got involved and killed John O'Keefe will be arrested, and they will be in the position of where Karen Reed is right now. I truly feel that will happen. I truly feel that will happen. All right, let's get into Vinny from Court TV. Let's see what Vinny has to say.
Dan, great to have you with us here for closing arguments. What a big day here at Court TV. We've got this huge case involving the so-called doom.
Hang on one second. Let me just adjust that. Perfect. Sorry about that, everybody.
Doomsday prophet taking place in Idaho on one side of the country, and then in the Northeast, up in Dedham, Massachusetts, Norfolk County, another huge trial, a case unlike any that we've seen here on Court TV. Karen Reed, accused of murdering her police officer boyfriend. She says she's being framed and set up by the police, by the investigators who found the evidence against her. So today, day one of jury selection, and you had supporters of Karen Reed showing up.
Be right back.
There are some rules, though. They can't go wherever they want. They can't wear whatever they want. There are absolutely some limitations on what they can do. And there you see Matt Johnson was ready to go this morning outside the courthouse. Now, let's take a look as Karen Reed was arriving at court this morning. You can see she's getting ready to walk across the street. You don't want to get struck by a car, so her attorney, Alan Jackson, makes sure she crosses properly. But you can see some of the folks flanking her, members of the media, high-profile case here. Now, Karen Reed, again, was inside the courtroom today for day one of jury selection. That could be one of the most important aspects of this case, like it is in many cases, but this is a case that has divided the community. It is on everyone's mind. How many people have opinions? How many people are suspicious of police? How many people are suspicious of a woman accused of murdering a police officer? These are things you've got to flush out during jury selection. Matt Johnson, as you saw, he is there and has the latest for us tonight.
Hey, Vinny, day one of jury selection here in Dedham ends with 4 of the 16 jurors needed to hear the case. How are we feeling today, Karen?
Good, Matt. Good.
Karen Reed telling Court TV she is ready to stand trial. Today was day one of jury selection in her high-profile murder case. Reed is accused of running over her Boston police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe, and leaving him to die in the snow back in 2022. The defense claims that she's being framed in a police cover-up. On Tuesday, the judge handed down a major decision that the defense can't blame other people in their opening statements.
Based on the offer of proof on Friday, I am well within my rights, pursuant to the case law, to exclude the third-party culprit defense. I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to give you a chance to develop it through
Notice that right there.
relevant.
Let's go back. Oh, I think I can't go back on Court TV. Damn it. Let's see. Can I? No, I don't think I can. Oh, I can. Let's go back.
Accused of running over her Boston police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe, and leaving him to die in the snow back in 2022. The defense claims that she's being framed in a police cover-up. On Tuesday, the judge handed down a major decision that the defense can't blame other people in their opening statements.
Based on the offer of proof on Friday, I am well within my rights, pursuant to the case law, to exclude the third-party culprit defense. I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to give you a chance to develop it through relevant, competent, admissible evidence, but you cannot open on it.
During jury selection, almost all potential jurors raised their numbers when asked if they knew about the case. Several people also raised their numbers, saying that they know some of the key players on the witness list. Outside the courthouse, dozens of supporters were kept in a buffer zone away from the entrance for the first time after the court ruled that officers who are observers cannot wear police uniforms in the gallery, and Reed supporters cannot wear buttons, shirts, or hold signs within 200 feet of the entrance.
She has to be exonerated. This is insane that this woman is being brought to trial. The evidence is insane for her innocence. She didn't do this.
So what are you looking forward to the most? Hearing opening statements or some of the evidence? What are you looking forward to?
I would like to see cross-examination of some unsavories on the stand.
What are you looking forward to?
I'm also looking forward to the defense cross-examining some of the people who we believe believe were the actual murderers of John O'Keefe and the people responsible for covering up. I think Karen has a great team, and part of the reason I'm out here today, I don't think that she's had a fair shake. I know it's not a trial yet.
So are people looking to join memberships from an iPad? The way that you have to do it, I believe, is that if you're using an app, if you're using the YouTube app, you will not be able to do that. What you will need to do is open your browser and go into YouTube from there. Then you can, I believe, click into the chat and join memberships that way. I think that's the way you have to do it. You can't do it through the app.
The hearings and evidence, so I'm excited to see her have her day.
And jury selection expected to last upwards of 2 weeks. Testimony could be 6 weeks. Vinny?
Matt Johnson at the courthouse. Now, let's talk about some of the evidence, because one of the things that was revealed today was a witness list and some of the proposed exhibits of evidence that this jury will see, that you will see here on Court TV. And let's begin with the one piece of evidence that probably started this whole support of Karen Reed, and it's a copy of the Cellbrite extraction report of the cell phone of Jennifer McCabe. This is incredibly significant. This is the search, and this is what the question is.
You're welcome, Dean.
How long to die in the cold was a search that was done by Jennifer McCabe's, or at least done on her phone. The question is, and it was misspelled, how becomes HOS. Was it done at 2:30 in the morning, or was it done at 6:30 in the morning? Big difference between those two times. And this is going to be a battle of the experts in trying to understand, from extracting this information from the cell phone, when this search was done. Because if the search is done at 2:30 in the morning, then it's game over for the prosecution. If someone is searching how long to die in the cold at 2:30 in the morning, it's over. Done. Yeah. If it's 6:30 in the morning, then it is consistent with the prosecution's case. So let's take a listen to a preview of some of the arguments.
That was the whole argument, that they were trying to say that at 6:30 in the morning, that was the whole, Karen in a frenzy during the 911 call, and just in that moment, she just turns to her friend and says, "Can you please just grab your phone and Google, how long does it take someone to die of hypothermia in the cold?" That's obviously what the Commonwealth's trying to say, but we know, like I said, it was 5, was it 5 or 6? I think it was 6 different extractions of that phone, of Jen McCabe's phone, that proved that the 2:27 a.m. search, how long to die in cold, did happen. It did happen.
You missed it. This
it was confirmed by the FBI as well, too.
Jury may hear.
The Commonwealth suppressed one of the most obvious pieces of exculpatory evidence in the entire case, and that was a piece of evidence that they know torpedoes their entire case and their theory of this case, and that's Jennifer McCabe's Google search at 2:27 a.m., how long to die in cold. Now, a Quantico-trained special agent with the FBI's Regional Computer Forensic Lab. In other words, the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation also specifically confirms that that search was made on Jennifer McCabe's phone, and it was made on or before 2:27 and 40 seconds a.m. on January 29th, 2022.
There's a separate, and I forget exactly what it stands for, but an RCFL analysis of the phone, in which through both Axiom and through Cellbrite, and the conclusion of that expert is that the searches occurred when Ms. McCabe testified. They occurred because the defendant asked her to conduct those searches at 6:23 and 6:24 in the morning. Really, the argument stops at the point of it's not, we didn't do our job to get the Cellbrite version that shows that information did not exist at the time of the grand jury. So I'm not really sure how the Commonwealth is supposed to run something through a Cellbrite version that isn't in existence at the time the grand jury is conducted.
Crucial battle of the experts in that case. Now, let's move on to more of the evidence. The taillight pieces recovered from the scene. Remember, the theory of the prosecution is that Karen Reed ran him over with the back of her car. So this becomes crucial, the actual taillight pieces, some of which were purportedly found on the victim himself. You remember last week we were
I just want to recognize this really quick. May, thank you so much for buying me a coffee through the coffee app. I really do appreciate it. We got that one up working again. That's good to see some coffees come through. Thank you so much for the 5 on Buy Me a Coffee. Again, all my affiliated little dono links will be dropping through the chat. I appreciate all the support here. And we'll get back to this. Thank you.
We were talking about this in her body cam when she was arrested for murder, rearrested for murder. She said my taillight was cracked. John was pulverized. He was beaten up. My taillight was already cracked.
Remember?
Well, how could the taillight been cracked? Well, they go back to this video. The defense is going to point to this video of her backing out when she's now looking for John.
Now, if you haven't seen the enhancement that I've done on this video, let's grab that. We haven't watched that in a while. I want you all to see this. Let's pull that up. Give me a second here. Let me find it. Where do we got it? It's been a while since I looked at it. Let's see. This is back in December I did this. Let's take a look. Yeah, let's pull this one up. Let's pull this up real quick. No, that's not the one I'm looking for. Hold on, little doggies. That was the one with me and Tom. That was a good one too. But I got a good one. If I can find it. Hold on, little doggies. I think it's this one. Let's take a look. And then I'll go back to Vinny in a second here. Let's look at this. Let's look at this one. Aha, I got it. Now, if you haven't seen this on my page, let's show you the enhanced video that I put together. Check this out.
Podcast. And what I've done here is enhanced the video of Karen Reed backing out and hitting John O'Keefe's SUV on her way back to 34 Fairview. I just played this recently in a live show with Tom CPU. We did some commentary over it. I'm going to drop.
I remember when I did this too. I literally still had COVID.
Drop that video as well. I've cut that down into a little clip and you'll see that launch. But I wanted to do this full screen so everybody can see it. And what I'm going to do is play through the video, do some pausing and talk a little bit about it. We can go through it here a couple of times, but I wanted to give you a better perspective and a better angle of what went on that night. And you can actually see Karen hit John's SUV, see John's SUV lunge forward, and you can see Karen's SUV lunge forward. When she leaves John's driveway, you can see that her light is out where she made contact with John's SUV. All right, let's play through the video here. This sample is from Court TV. I just enhanced it. So you can see her backing out. You can see it in large. Bam, right there. You can see the contact. And I'll put some arrows in here so you can see it. Let's back up. There it is right there. You can see the contact with John's SUV and Karen's SUV. Lunge forward. We'll do it again. You can see it.
Her car actually rocks too.
Let's go back again. Bam, right there. We'll go back one more time and then we'll play through.
Oh, I hate COVID so bad. I remember doing this recording because I just want to get
right
content
there.
up on the channel.
Now what we're going to do is play through here as you see Karen's SUV leave John's driveway, and you're going to see that light out on the rear passenger side. Check this out. And I've enhanced that as well. You'll see the enhancement here come into frame. Keep an eye on that tail light. And right there, bam, Tail light is out. You can see it there.
Cracked.
Driver's side is
Shattered.
fully illuminated.
Cracked.
Passenger side is out. Driver's side fully illuminated. Passenger side is out. Let's back up and we'll play it again. You can see it come into frame here. Right there. Bam. Passenger side out. Driver's side fully illuminated. So that's where she made contact with John's SUV. We'll play through here. You can see it right there as well too. Just as those bright lights come off and the normal running lights turn back on, you have the passenger side where it made
Darcy,
contact out and fully.
I'm sure the defense team has something that's probably even better than this, enhanced and clear. Yeah, they'll see something like this at trial, 100%, 100%. And you'll probably have an expert come in. They'll probably have some type of expert, or probably the reconstructionist. I'm not sure if it's going to be the federal, the gentleman that was hired by the feds, but they'll have their own accident reconstructionists come in.
Illuminated on the driver's side. Let's watch her pull out and then we'll rewind it. All right, let's go back. We'll go back again. This is real time. And one more time, and then I'll give you a full playthrough.
Yes.
All right, now this is just the full playthrough.
You can see it.
You can see it right there. She makes contact and kind of moves forward.
Point. I never even watched that before, but you can see Karen's body actually lunge forward. Watch Karen right here. Let's go back a little bit. Watch Karen.
You can see it right there. Where she makes contact and kind of moves forward. Right.
Watch right here.
There. Boom.
Yeah, she does. She lunges forward. So anyway, that's a little bit of an enhancement video that I did. I mean, it's going to just kind of loop through a couple more times. But if you're interested in seeing and watching that and you want to use it for a reference or whatever, you can on my channel. I'll drop the link there. Link is right there in the chat. All right, let's go back to Vinny and keep playing through this Court TV segment. See what Vinny's got to say. I want to thank everybody again for being here tonight, checking out the newly branded LTL Media inside LTL Studios here. Having some fun here on the kind of inaugural first live stream tonight in the studio. Again, I was like so nervous coming in here and doing it, but so far everything is working flawlessly and I'm really happy. And I'm hoping you're all enjoying the experience as well too. So all we got to do next, get the second camera position up and hopefully start getting some live guests in here. It would be really fun to sit down and actually have a human being in front of me instead of, looking at them over StreamYard or something like that. All right, let's go back to Vinny here.
John O'Keefe, that she smashes into this car. You look on the rearview mirror, how cracked is the tail light? You know, that's something the jury's gonna have to figure out based upon this video and arguments. Another important part of the tail light is that a former police chief, Kenneth Berkowitz, found a piece like a week later. He's driving by the scene a week later and finds a piece of the tail light. So the defense says that's very peculiar because they're gonna allege that this evidence was.
What does Aiden say? He's the tail light whisperer, tail light whisperer. Because everybody, I always say this too. It's like the Dave Chappelle skit, if you've ever seen it, talks about just sprinkle some crack on it, it'd be okay. Just sprinkle some tail light around. I used to call it the magic tail light fairy dust that was sprinkled all over Canton. There's fucking tail lights being found everywhere. Everyone's finding a piece of tail light. You get 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 a piece of tail light. Everybody's finding tail light.
Planted by police. Planted. And he found a piece a week later? Why would he find it a week later? Well, prosecution's going to say, well, that's when all the snow melted after the big storm. Now, There's also the witness list is crucial here as well, and probably one of the most important witnesses for both sides, I think, in the way his testimony will go, will be Trooper Michael Proctor from the Massachusetts State Police. This is one of the lead investigators, but was he close to the family in the house that the defense is going to say is responsible for the death of John O'Keefe? Here's what Alan Jackson is going to try to prove.
Trooper Michael Proctor. The Commonwealth withheld from the grand jury clear and even more egregious conflicts of interest as they pertain to Michael Proctor. Sergeant Lenk was aware of this irremediable conflict that Canton Police Department had and that he should have had with the Alberts. So what does he do? He calls in Massachusetts State Police. And who do they send but Michael Proctor? And that's like jumping from the frying pan into the fire. That's the same Michael Proctor who's also years-long close family friends with the Alberts. The Proctors have called the Alberts their, quote, second family.
Also taking a look at the defense witness list, significant witness here, Brian Higgins. Who is Brian Higgins, right? Close friend of Brian Albert, one of the people in the house, attended the bar and the party that night where the defense says John O'Keefe was.
I want to hear more about Higgins.
Was killed, had an alleged romantic entanglement with Karen Reed. Does that give him motive to get into a fight with John O'Keefe? Maybe they'll argue that. I don't know. An agent with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and had an office in the Canton Police Department. Testified he found out about John O'Keefe's death in a phone call from Brian Albert and convened at the Alberts home with the McCabe's hours after O'Keefe's body was discovered to discuss the investigation. These are the allegations. This is where they're going. This is going to be fought, this whole case. Also on the defense list, this is extremely unusual, like this case, the Norfolk County District Attorney, Michael Morrissey. Remember, he had that statement that he released, this video statement, caused a little bit of controversy among some folks where he was telling, listen, leave the witnesses alone, everyone. Leave the witnesses alone. They're all presumed innocent. And in the
remember that video 3 times. Colin Albert was not inside the house. Not go to 34 Fairview.
the end, one of the folks who was confronting the witnesses was charged with witness tampering. Turtle Boy had him on the show. Let's take a listen now to the significance of the DA and what role he may play in the trial of Karen Reed.
This will be the first statement of its kind in my dozen years as Norfolk District Attorney. The harassment of witnesses in the murder prosecution of Karen Reed is absolutely baseless. The idea that multiple police department, EMTs, fire personnel, the medical examiner, and prosecuting agencies are joined in or taken in by a vast conspiracy should be seen for what it is, completely contrary to the evidence and a desperate attempt to reassign guilt. What is happening to the witnesses, some with no actual involvement in the case, is wrong.
He's wrong.
He has a personal interest in getting Karen Reed convicted. If he can use whatever means he has at his disposal to convict her, and he succeeds, that would vindicate him and harm the federal investigation of his office. On the other hand, if she's found not guilty, as we expect she will be, he knows that he and his office will remain in the crosshairs of the federal investigation.
So what you have going on here is you really have 2 things going on at once. You've got the trial of Karen Reed and what the defense is going to attempt to do, even though they can't mention it in their opening statement, but through cross-examination and perhaps through their own case.
Real quick, totally unrelated case to this, but it is a big case that I have followed here on this channel. And I cannot even believe this, that I am looking at this right now. I can't even believe that I am looking at this right now. Brian Kohberger in the Idaho 4 case, I believe, has submitted his alibi today. And if I am reading this correctly, it says that he was driving around to look at the moon and the stars? You've got to be kidding me. Brian Kohberger, if anybody's followed the Idaho 4 murder case, has been accused of murdering 4 college students I believe, and if I'm reading this correctly, has submitted his alibi today. And he said that he was driving around to look at the moon and the stars? You've got to be kidding me. Am I reading that right? Mary probably knows. Mary's probably up on this. You've got to be kidding me. Driving around to see the moon and the stars. Right here, Brian Enton, 33 minutes ago. Brian Kohberger's legal team filed his alibi a short time ago. They claim he likes to go out for hikes and late night drives. And he was driving in the area of Pullman, Washington and West Moscow, Idaho, but not near the victim's house. I will be doing a live on this soon. Wow. I've got to look more into this. I've got to look more into this. I will be definitely looking more into that. Yeah, right. Massacre. I mean, I don't smoke weed, whatever, you can do your thing. But Massacre says, hey, at least say you were out smoking some weed, you know, that's a little bit more believable. But he was out to look at the moon and the stars. Oh, man. You can't make this shit up. All right, back to
Try
Vinny.
to prove that, no, it wasn't Karen Reed. This is what really happened. That makes this case unusual. What also makes this case very different are all the people who've been showing up for every hearing outside of that courthouse with the signs and the shirts and the chants and the cheers. The folks who have been supporting Karen Reed. So who are they? Well, let's bring one of them in. Joining us from Wilmington, Massachusetts, Karen Reed supporter, and the man who helped raise the money for that Karen Reed billboard truck, Nick Rocco, back with us. Nick, great to see you. Were you there today?
Of course I was there today, Vinny. How you doing?
I'm doing well. What about this buffer zone? 200 feet away. How are the protesters going to handle this? And how are the protesters going to dress to show up at the courthouse?
So to be honest, you can see on both sides of the courthouse where the cones are, where the protesters have to stand. Now, anybody who walks across the street or even on that street is able to see them from the courthouse. So I'm not really still understanding. I guess they want to keep us back, but no matter who comes to that courthouse, you can still see supporters there. And the people you see standing on the sidewalk, those are some of us waiting to get into the courtroom. And unfortunately today, people were not able to get in until after lunch because there were so many jurors still in there waiting.
So what is the plan for the supporters of Karen Reed? Is it an organized effort at this point, or is it just everyone on their own is choosing to show up? How does this work?
Commotion. I'm just gonna mute it. I'm gonna mute the commotion. All right, back to things at hand. We'll wait for this commercial ends. Everybody's gonna get paid, right? Everybody's gonna get paid. Nothing like dead air on live TV, right?
Well, I mean, a lot of us that are here at these protests are in the Facebook group, and everybody's coordinating different things. Today was the first day. We weren't sure if we were able to park behind the Registry of Deeds, or if we had to park where the Dedham police, set aside where there could be a peaceful protest, which was about 1,000 feet away from the courthouse, 800 feet more than the actual buffer zone. So you had people lined up right at those cones, and the ones who didn't have any gear on were able to walk in front of the courthouse, basically back and forth without lingering out front.
Okay, so if you don't wear the Karen Reed things to support her, you can walk around the courthouse, and ultimately, if you get in line and there's space, you'll be in the courtroom. Is that the plan?
Pretty much, yeah. I think today was a learning lesson for everybody how it's going to go. But don't forget, we also do have an appeal and a petition in the full spectrum Supreme Court to potentially overrule this buffer still. So, you know, the protesters are not out of this fight yet.
All right, let me ask you this now. The protesters, obviously supporting Karen Read, believe that she has been wrongfully accused and believe that the people in the house are the ones responsible for what happened to Officer John O'Keefe. But my understanding is that the family of John O'Keefe believe that Karen Read is responsible. How do you feel as someone who is supporting an accused killer when the victim's family believes the correct person is on trial?
Well, you know, I don't know Karen personally. I don't know the relationship between Karen and John's mother. To be honest, whether they were friendly or not, it's John's mother's right to, you know, believe in what she wants. But from what I looked at today on the defense witness list is John's father, and he's not on the Commonwealth's witness list. So I found that very interesting as well.
And are you going to go every day? This is going to be a pretty long trial. Are your plans and the plans of the other supporters to be there day in and day out? Justice, the wheels of justice sometimes turn a little slowly, especially in a big case like this that's being so hotly contested.
The last time I told you when I was on here, I still truly believe you will have people outside of that courthouse every single day for jury selection and then for the whole trial. It was a beautiful day outside today. So yeah, the nicer it is, the more people are going to be there. I myself, I'm going to try to be there as much as possible. I can't be there every day, unfortunately, but I will be there as much as I can.
All right, Nick Rocco, thanks for giving us a little bit of insight into the folks who've been showing up and making this trial much different than many other trials we cover here on Court TV. Appreciate your time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, when we come back, as
I say, I think we've already seen this. So I'm going to cut away from this. If anybody wants to follow it up, they can, because I've already seen. I played this, I think, the other night. But I'll drop the link there if you want to keep continuing that. There was something else that just came up from Law and Crime Network, and you know, maybe we'll pull that up. It was dropped like an hour ago. Let's see, what do we got? Let's say, all right, they're going to talk about jury selection that continues. Let's pull this up really quick. Jury selection continues. Go.
Well, at 5:04, it is day 2 of jury selection for the Karen Read murder trial.
More than 100 potential jurors were called to the courthouse yesterday. Only 4 so far have been selected. So let's bring in NBC 10's Minash Gangori live outside Norfolk Superior Court. Minash, safe to say this is going to be a long process.
Well, it's one that could last several days, but I can tell you just getting 4 on the first day is a positive, considering nearly 80% of the first 90 jurors that were called revealed that they are familiar with this case. Now, as you know, Karen Read is accused of killing her then boyfriend, former Boston police officer.
I got to say, you know, thankfully that those people came forward and they were honest about it, because it could just been anybody that jumped on there. And I think that you're just getting a lot of people that are afraid, that don't want to show their faces as a juror, knowing all probably the potential backlash and shit they will get through this process.
John O'Keefe 2 years ago after a night out in Canton. Yesterday, we also learned her defense will not just be arguing that Karen Read could not have committed this crime, but that someone else actually did, and they plan to name that person and possible accomplices. It's notable because this third-party angle has been speculated for months. In fact, last week, prosecutors filed a motion to prevent the defense from making such an argument, saying their angle lacked evidence. But now, it will be presented in front of what the judge hopes is an impartial jury.
People outside of this building have rights, and we know that they have voices. But this criminal trial will be decided by an independent jury, free from outside interference, based only upon the evidence presented in this courtroom and the law.
Now, we also learned that more than 160 witnesses will be called to the stand during this trial. It's why it's expected to last 6 to 8 weeks. We'll be keeping you updated throughout. But for right now, we're live here in Canton. Dedham, rather. Manoj Kumwari, NBC 10 Boston.
All right, Manoj, thanks so much. And stay with us here on NBC Boston and NECN for continuing coverage of the Karen Read trial. We're going to carry all of the testimony live for you on NECN, NBC10Boston.com, and on our stream.
All right, let's bounce out of that. I'm tired of this chair already. I hate it. I'm going to be ditching this chair. I'm sick of it. It feels like it's already broken. I've sat in this thing maybe like 3 times. I feel like I'm leaning forward, and I don't like that. So I'm probably going to bring my chair from home here. I hate this chair. I'm done with it already. I'm ready to get rid of it. Done. Gone. Out of here. It's getting thrown in the dumpster. Sick of it. All right, let's see here. Let's play. This was from Crime in, let's see, Law and Crime Network about an hour ago. So it's a brand new video that they came up with. Let's check out this. It says Reed's explosive showdown. Let's go.
Karen Read arriving for jury selection in her trial.
Look at that. This is me. Look at that. Right there. I remember that. It was like in December. No, was that December or January? What is that hearing? January, I think. It's freezing that day.
Karen Read arriving for jury.
Right there. Look at that. Look at that mug right there. That big green jacket with the the furry hood.
Selection in her trial. She's accused of driving drunk and hitting and killing her boyfriend, John O'Keefe, and then leaving him to die in the snow.
There was no fight. There was no dog attack.
But Reed claims she's the victim of a massive police
Hate
cover-up.
this
It
chair.
is not our
Done with it
job
already.
to solve this case for the
Going.
prosecution.
Thanks for joining me for
Leaning
Crime Fix.
forward.
I'm
Why?
Anjanette Levy.
Cheers
Jury
to you.
selection is underway in the trial of Karen Read, and the scene outside of the courthouse is wild, with Reed's supporters and those who think she killed John O'Keefe gathering in a buffer zone established by Judge Beverly Cannoni.
They take time off of work. They
Hey, it's
pay a
done.
babysitter to come here to watch their kids. I mean,
People use their vacation time, their sick time. You come for a couple hours in the morning.
Now, Reed arrives with her lawyers to cheers from her
You know,
supporters,
Dan, I hate
a group
this chair.
simply called Free
Done.
Karen Read.
thanks for everybody.
It's Grant.
Love you, Karen.
Hey, there I am again. Look at that mug.
While those who believe she's guilty shout questions.
Karen, are you not taking the stand because you said it was your fault on the night you hit John?
Now, to say this case has been divisive would probably be the understatement of the century. As the trial date has approached, things have become even more heated online. It all started on January 29th, 2022. Karen Read and John O'Keefe were
Okay.
out with friends.
Let me pause this real quick. Let's try to, and probably because you're just coming in. All right, here's the thing. I have a brand new microphone set up. The problem is I'm having some issues connecting that gear to my computer right now. And unfortunately, I'm in a 12 by 12 room, so it's not as big as my bedroom was. So the sound is reverberating in here. I don't have any sound panels up, and I need to get those up because the studio is still working. We're still working on it. So it's issues that I'm going to work through. This microphone is like a $20 microphone. It's a piece of garbage. I've upgraded to like a pro microphone that was like $400, but I'm having an issue running it through some outboard gear right now. So once all that gets ironed out, it's going to sound a lot better in here. I know I sound like I'm in a tin can. I've had 40 million text messages tonight telling me that. There's nothing I can do about it. The thing is, we're here. I think the camera looks great. The studio setup's looking great. It's things that I have to work through, but we're going to get there. It just takes time. And I knew that I needed to start streaming from here to make it feel like home. So we're getting there. It's just going to take me a little bit of time. I can hear the echo in here. I get it. And it's something that I have to work on. And we have sound panels that we're going to put up, and we'll try it out. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, I'm going to freaking take holes in the wall. I don't know what to do, but we'll figure it out. But we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. All right. Let's play through. Takes time to do this stuff. It's been a lot. I've been doing a lot in trying to get this going. But tonight I needed a break in the studio, make sure this gear worked. It's working great. We just have, cheapy microphone issues, but we'll get through it. and I'll get out of the tin can, I promise you. All right, let's play through here.
It was a Friday night and a blizzard was moving in. The couple went to a couple of bars with friends, and after that, prosecutors say Reed and O'Keefe drove to Brian Albert's house. He was another police officer, and they were going to hang out.
It's not upsetting me
What
at all.
happened next has become
It's
this
just, you know, it's just been trial and error, you know. It's just trial and error. But, you know, I know there's an echo in here. I can hear it. But we'll get through it. Don't worry. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. It takes time. It does take time. And I'm still actively building this studio. I mean, there's crap everywhere. There's stuff all over the floor. There's cords behind me. There's boxes. Like, you know, you don't see that. But at some point, you will see the full studio once I get the second camera hooked up and I can start actually getting live guests in here. I got 2 seats right there. If anybody wants to come in, 2 seats. Come join us. All right, let's keep playing through.
Subject of fierce debate. Prosecutors say Reed and O'Keefe got into an argument. The relationship had been on the rocks. The theory, Reed was drunk and backed her car into O'Keefe, hitting him, and then took off, calling O'Keefe and leaving a voicemail that said, "I effing hate you, John." A few hours later, Reed's SUV can be seen backing out of the driveway of the home she shared with O'Keefe. But the defense claims Massachusetts State Police investigator Michael Proctor framed Reed and never disclosed he knew the Alberts.
We have been saying since September 16th, 2022, in lengthy motions that we filed before this court and filed with the Commonwealth, there is a conflict. You're not investigating the conflict.
The prosecution has pushed back on those claims.
And their testimonies are largely consistent with the defendants making declarative statements that she did it, not a question mark at the end, but clear definitive statements on scene.
Reed was indicted in September 2022 and said this when she was booked at the jail.
You were indicted by grand jury.
Okay, you're aware he was beaten up by Brian and Colin Albert. I mean, we're all in on the same joke, right? My taillight was cracked and John was pulverized.
Okay, right. You need to abide by the rights that were afforded to you, okay? So you can talk if you want. If you want to tell us what happened, that's fine, we'll listen, but you were ready to use your rights, okay? And I'm sure he's gonna do it again. All right, if you want to talk to us, you want to give us a story.
Since that time, a federal grand jury has heard testimony about the case, but no federal charges have ever been filed. Reed's supporters believe O'Keefe was beaten and attacked by Albert's dog, Chloe, while prosecutors say that theory is nothing more than a tinfoil hat conspiracy and that O'Keefe's death was caused by blunt force trauma and hypothermia. Now, despite that, Reed might suggest that one of the Alberts, or possibly a federal agent named Brian Higgins, killed John O'Keefe over the objection of prosecutors.
We do not have to prove that Brian Albert or Colin Albert or Brian Higgins or some combination of them intended to kill John O'Keefe. We don't have to prove that any of them attacked John O'Keefe such that he eventually died. They have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that they didn't. But the fact of the matter is there is evidence that all 3 of them had a motive, had the opportunity and the means to attack John O'Keefe.
There have been a number of theories of speculation, rank speculation, opinions without any evidentiary support, names of certain people that have been dropped at this microphone by counsel at different pretrial hearings who are not witnesses, who have nothing to do with this case.
For as divisive as this case has been on YouTube and social media, there are still people who are on the fence, like Brandy Churchwell. She's the host of the 13th Juror podcast.
You know, I think some of the biggest issues that I've had that I've seen are the investigation itself, because there seems to be so many unanswered questions, things that weren't necessarily done by the book. And with the court documents and the statements from the witnesses, there are so many conflicting statements and the statements change. And I think that if everything were based solely on just whatever evidence they presented, it would be a totally different situation than the automatic distrust that is caused from all of these court documents and these statements changing. And not being consistent.
But there are two people who represent just how divisive this case has become.
And it's not funny to joke about domestic violence, you coward punk.
Did you really beat her, Grant?
No, that is my
Did you
aunt.
touch her?
That is my
Should we
aunt.
start a GoFundMe for her?
That's Aiden Turtleboy Carney talking to law student Grant Smith Ellis.
Are you working for the FBI, Grant? Did the FBI give you that jacket, Grant?
Carney runs Turtleboy Daily News and believes Reed is innocent. He's even facing witness intimidation charges in connection to the case. And if you think I touched on everything that's a point of contention in this case, guess again, there's a lot more to discuss. So if you've been following this case, you know how incredibly contentious it is with the Free Karen Reed camp.
Whoa! I didn't. They're on together. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, this is going to be great. Oh, this is going to be so good. All right, let's play through this.
And people who think that Karen Reed is
here we
guilty
go.
and that the
Yeah.
evidence points to her as killing John O'Keefe. So in the Free Karen Reed camp, the leader, really, in my opinion, of that camp is Aiden Carney. He goes by Turtle Boy. He's a
1000%.
journalist. He says he's won some awards. He's award winning. And we also have Grant Ellis.
Agent Levy, props to you for calling Aiden a journalist. Thank you. Not a fucking blogger, a journalist. That's great. Oh, this is going to be good.
He's a law student who
Grant
believes
with his fucking door open. His door.
evidence points to Karen Reed's guilt.
Excuse
So
me.
thanks both of you for joining me. I want to start with you, Aiden. You've been following this from the very beginning and you believe that Karen Reed is innocent. Why?
The autopsy photos are inconsistent, and the FBI agrees that with somebody who's been run over by a car. John O'Keefe was not run over by a car. He had no broken bones. He had no bruises anywhere from the nose down. He had a 3-inch laceration in the back of his head. He has dog bites, what are clearly dog bites, on his right arm exclusively. There's two witnesses, Lucky Loughran, the plow driver who drove by the scene at 2:30 at 34 Fairview Road and reported that not only did he not see a body 12 feet from the curb, that if there was a body there, he most definitely would have seen a body there. Ryan Nagel, also, who was directly behind Karen Reed when she pulled up to 34 Fairview Road, reported that John O'Keefe was not inside the car and John O'Keefe was not outside the car, and that Karen Reed's taillight was in perfectly pristine condition. So if John O'Keefe was not inside the car and John O'Keefe was not outside the car, then John O'Keefe certainly must have been inside the house. This is backed up by the fact that Apple Health data shows John ascending and descending 3 flights of stairs between 12:21 and 12:24, which Karen Reed's phone does not, indicating that they were not in the same place because Karen Reed does not have steps inside of her car. Additionally, of course, Jennifer McCabe undoubtedly was inside the house and is the sister-in-law of Brian Albert, the homeowner, undoubtedly, and the FBI investigation confirms this, Googled how long to die in cold at 2:27 a.m. A Google search that she then subsequently deleted before handing over her phone to police. She also deleted all of her calls between 5 and 9 a.m., including 2 very incriminating calls to her sister, Nicole Albert, at 6:07 and 6:08 that lasted durations of 9 and 7 seconds, which she deleted from her phone, which is extremely suspicious and evidence of consciousness of guilt.
Okay, so there was a lot there, but I do want to say we don't know exactly what the FBI expert said. We know what the defense says the FBI expert said about the injuries and whether or not they were consistent or inconsistent with being hit by an SUV. I want to turn to Grant now. Grant, why do you believe the evidence points to Karen Reed being guilty?
Well, I think there's really two important views on the evidence related to Karen Reed's guilt. The first is what is not true about what Aiden was just talking about. So let's take it one by one.
What's the pen? What's the hand motions? What is this? What's the pen? Maybe I need a pen. I need a pen, right? I need a pen. Pen makes you smarter. Believe me, Grant, you're not going to find the answers inside that pen. Believe me. Believe me. It's not here, Grant. It's not here. He's got jazz hands going on. Look at the pen, the fucking pen.
And Anjanette, I think you
Where
pointed it
is
out
he?
rightly.
He
The
looks like he's
FBI
inside like a hallway. Dude, where are you? Are you in the basement? That's a basement. Is that a basement? Those are basement stairs, aren't they? He's in the basement. What is that? Is that a handrail to come down into the basement? He's in the basement. What is that painting in the background? I want to see the pen again. Maybe he's going to do the magic pen. Remember when you were a kid? You used to do this. Hey, look at the magic pen. It bends. All right, let's get to this.
Expert that Aiden's referring to was only provided 2 extractions by Mr. Yannetti, Karen Reed's counsel. But what Aiden neglects to mention is that the FBI conducted a separate analysis, this time using Axiom and Celebrite. And the conclusion of that analysis was that the searches were conducted at 6:23 and 6:24 a.m., and it was done at the behest of Karen Reed. That was the timestamps. And the Celebrite internal expert himself is a witness for the state who will confirm the timestamp of those searches. So that's to address just a primary falsehood. So that's one reason why I think there's some evidence of Karen Reed's guilt. Going to something else that Mr. Kearney was talking about, Mr. Kearney knows the evidence in this case shows that John's Waze data, John O'Keefe's Waze data, does not show him arriving at that house until 12:24. So the 3-second window where Mr. O'Keefe at 12:21 a.m. in his Apple Health data went up and down 3 flights of stairs in 3 seconds is entirely an errant and unrelated piece of information if the Waze data, which it does, confirms that Mr. O'Keefe didn't arrive at 34 Fairview until 12:24 a.m. Furthermore, there's also evidence that Mr. Kearney doesn't even address, and the omission of it is so telling as to Karen Reed's guilt. Mr. Kearney doesn't address the voicemails from Karen Reed right after 12:45 a.m. when she is alleged to have hit John, screaming that she effing hated John, that he was a pervert, and that he was sleeping with other women. And what else does Mr. Kearney not address? That just 1 month before John's death, Karen Reed herself started an affair with a federal agent. I believe Mr. Kearney knew about this affair and covered it up from the public to try to protect Karen Reed in the lead up to this trial. And that federal agent that Miss Reed was cheating on Mr. O'Keefe with, on the January 15th, 2022 Patriots game, that agent went over to John's house, and Karen followed that agent down to the basement on his way out and gave him a kiss and said to him, "Federal agent, I know where the cameras are, so I know that this will not be caught on camera when I go to kiss you." And the reason why that's relevant, Anjanette, and this goes to the last thing I want to talk about with regard to Karen Reed's guilt, is that there were 17 Ring videos deleted between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. from John O'Keefe's Ring system, which Karen Reed had control over, according to John O'Keefe's niece. And so that, Anjanette, coupled with the fact that Karen Reed went back to Fairview Road before going to Jen McCabe's, is evidence that she saw the body, had a panic attack, had a meltdown, and then tried to bring witnesses back to the scene, knowing that body was there, which is why Karen Reed started screaming before she got past the tree line coming up to Fairview Road when she went back to the scene with Jen McCabe and Kerry Roberts. That's the reality.
So, Aiden, Grant threw out a lot of information in there, and a lot of what Grant said is laid out in some prosecution documents, particularly the one that was pushing back against the motion to dismiss filed by the defense. And there really is some information in there in that document that is inculpatory, that makes Karen Reed look bad, and it does point to her as the person who killed John O'Keefe, that maybe backed up and hit him. What do you say about those voicemails where she is calling him and cursing at him
let's talk
after
about
the
that.
fact, allegedly
Let's
after
talk
she
about
hit him?
that.
What is your response to that?
The Commonwealth would have us believe that Karen Reed, after intentionally striking John O'Keefe with his car, did perhaps the most incriminating thing she could do and leave angry voicemails with him. That is the last thing. To me, that is more exculpatory than inculpatory, because a guilty person would not leave a message saying, "I hate you," immediately after hitting someone. An innocent person was. A person who was upset that they thought their boyfriend went out and got drunk and didn't come home. That kind of person. People have left voicemails like that with their loved ones before when they get upset with them. That does not make them a murderer. That does not explain why John O'Keefe has dog bites on his arm. That does not explain why Lucky Loughran did not see a body at 2:30 a.m. That does not explain why Ryan Nagel did not see John O'Keefe inside or outside of the house. And by the way, the Apple Health data is substantial, and he's wrong about the Waze thing. He just made that up. The Apple Health data uses an internal cocoa clock, which measures seconds from the year 2000. It is the most reliable form of telling time possible. And it shows that John was ascending and descending stairs from 1221 to 1224. It's Apple. I mean, it's freaking Apple. We don't have to explain the reliability that our society has on Apple. If Apple Health data is unreliable, then we have nothing. Additionally, not a single person inside that house who left that house, there was 11 in total, said that they saw a body when they left the house. Not a single person saw a body. However, I'll tell you what Lucky Loughran did see when he went back at 3 a.m. was he saw a Ford Edge parked in the exact same spot where John O'Keefe's body would be discovered 3 hours later. Remember, he did not see a body there prior to that. And then he saw a Ford Edge, and then 3 hours later, boom, a body appears there. You know who owns a Ford Edge? Colin Albert owns a Ford Edge. Brian Albert owns a Ford Edge. Kevin Albert owns a Ford Edge. And the police to this day have not done a single thing to track down who was driving a Ford Edge parked directly next to where a dead police officer was found 3 hours later. The same lead investigator, Michael Proctor, who we now know is close family friends with the primary and most important.
And also remember, too, David Yannetti on this past Friday calling out Brian Albert for being a member, a first responder. He knew that John was on his front lawn and did not come out under the first responder ethics and try to help John. I love that got on the record. And I love that Yannetti said that in open court because it's right. He knew that John was out there and didn't do anything to help. It's kind of like, when there's a car accident and you have like a nurse pull over or a doctor pull over. I think they're bound by ethics to like do so to make sure to check on a potential victim of an accident. But I love that Yannetti called that out.
Witnesses in this case, that he lied to a state grand jury about his relationship with them, that he was offered gifts by Julie Albert, the mother of Colin Albert, on the day that Karen Reed was arrested. She wanted to thank him and send him that. So I don't care if Karen Reed was smooching with the entire town of Canton. I don't care if Karen Reed left angry voicemails with them. None of that explains all of the much more damning exculpatory evidence that I just went over.
Okay, but Aiden, you have to contend and you have to concede that I don't think anybody is saying that Karen Reed intentionally hit. I don't even think the Commonwealth is saying that she intentionally backed into him.
Oh, yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
I mean, it sounds like they think she was drunk. They got into a fight. This is the theory. She got into a fight with him. They argued. She was drunk. He may have had that glass in his hand or whatever from the bar, and that she backs into him and takes off. And maybe she didn't even realize what she did. And then she's
disagree with the Commonwealth,
cursing him out.
And you disagree with
that's what that's how I read it. That's how I read that document.
Hold on, Anjanette, can I weigh in here? Because I think I deserve a chance to respond.
That John did that John was hit intentionally. It's undeniable. That is what they've
No, that's wrong. Aiden, you're putting out misinformation. This is a malice theory of second-degree murder. I'm sure Anjanette can explain it to you if you don't want me to. The malice theory of second-degree murder has three possible prongs. Two of them involve intentionality. One option does not. One involves recklessness as the mens rea, which means a reasonably prudent person knew or should have known that they acted in a way which could have resulted in death. It does not require intent. It does not require foresight of the death having the potential to occur. It requires only that the defendant should have knew or should have known that their actions, to wit, in this case, DUIing and backing up in anger while John was around the car, had a reasonable and plain likelihood that could cause death. That's the standard. It's not intentionality. You're wrong, Aiden.
I'm actually not wrong because actually in the filings they specifically said that Karen backed up 62 feet and hit the maximum speed of 24.2 miles an hour, 62 feet at 24 miles an hour, which by the way is physically impossible. We've recreated that several times, particularly in the snow, and yet nobody heard it. That is not an accident if somebody does something like that. If somebody intentionally guns it at another human being, that is not an accident. So let's be clear. The Commonwealth is alleging.
But you understand, Aiden, let me quote this at you. The second degree.
Let me get in here. I've read the documents.
Like it's my
you
show.
can intentionally gun your vehicle, not intend to hit somebody, and that's how I read it.
When
I read through the documents, and I've read them twice, that this laying out their theory of the case was that they got into a fight. She was drunk. I mean, this was a bad relationship. It sounds like it was on the rocks, and it was probably ending. And that she was mad. She may not have even realized she hit him. I mean, that's how I read the documents.
You didn't hit a 207. You wouldn't notice he hit a 217-pound body going 24 miles an hour. You wouldn't notice that. Come on.
If you were drunk, I don't know.
And by the way, both cameras across the street have ring cameras on them. Ask how many of them were pulled by police. Zero.
Right, zero.
There's hundreds of ring cameras on homes and businesses between 34 Fairview Road and 1 Meadows Ave where she went. Not a single one of those videos was pulled by police. Not one. If they had just found one ring camera video with a broken taillight, Karen Reed is 1000% guilty. But they did not do one. And the lead investigator in charge of this happens to be good friends with the McAlberts and was offered a gift by Julie Albert on the day that Karen Reed is arrested. Ask yourself why.
And I've read that in the defense filings. I want to discuss very briefly the dog bites, this dog bite theory, because we haven't heard that really specifically addressed by the state. So I've seen the pictures. We can't show them on YouTube. I know they're out there on other channels, but we are not showing them. I've seen the scratches. They're vertical up and down. You contend their dog bite marks attacks from Chloe, the dog that was in the house. Aiden, that's your contention. So tell me why you believe so strenuously that John O'Keefe was attacked by a dog, because there's no mention of that in the information from the medical examiner in the prosecution documents.
I suggest everybody watch attorney Melanie Little's interview with canine expert and dog bite expert Garrett Wing on January 13th. You can check it out on YouTube. He is a person who has seen thousands of dog bites over the years and knows exactly what they look like. And he believes with absolute certainty that those are dog bites from an untrained police dog. Police dogs are taught specifically to latch onto a victim's arm. They will not let go. They're taught to hold on. But an untrained dog like Chloe, who, by the way, also according to Canton Animal Canine Control Records, sent 2 other people to the emergency room and biting them.
That's right.
An untrained dog like Chloe would grasp onto you, and if you pulled your arm away, it would cause marks like that. And it's undoubtedly that those are clearly lacerations, not abrasions. We all know what an abrasion looks like. It's insulting to us to suggest that those are abrasions. And keep in mind, medical examiners don't see dog bites a lot because most people who die are not killed by a pack of wild dogs. So they don't really see a lot of dog bites on dead victims very often.
All right, Grant, this is our last point, the dog bite theory. Your response.
Yes. Thank you. I'm sorry I forgot to address it earlier. This is simply not at issue in the case, Anjanette. The defense has said there's no dog DNA at issue. It's not in any of the moving papers, as you know. What it is actually a microcosm of everything that Aidan Kearney reflects in this case, which is we, as you know, Anjanette, in the legal profession, are subject to the federal rules of evidence, which I keep in my pocket at all times. Those federal rules of evidence limit what can come in a trial for a reason. Mr. Kearney, however, in an attempt to poison the jury pool, can say whatever he wants in the hope that it will potentially cause one juror to hold out and vote for a not guilty verdict. However, because the fact that dog DNA is not at issue, and the fact that these autopsy photos came out from the defense and were hypersaturated, it's all an indication that this is a distraction and it's not even going to be brought up in the case. And one more thing to bring this back. It is very, very, very clear that Karen Reed probably did not intend to kill John O'Keefe. But it is also clear that Karen Reed probably found the body before she went to Jen McCabe's and had a complete meltdown as a result. Mr. Kearney can't address Karen's behavior, the breakdown of the relationship, the exceptions to the character evidence rule, and the hearsay rule for a domestic relationship gone bad in the lead up to a second-degree malice murder. He can't address any of the evidence related to Karen's statements after she did hit John. And he can't even address why Karen won't release the ring videos from her parents' house in Dighton that would show that taillight crack in that early morning. She released a still. She won't release the other videos. She's guilty. He knows she's guilty. He worked for her PR team. She burned him, and it's over.
Okay, so we're just making things up. PR team. See, this is the part where we start making things up. But okay, sure thing.
All right, guys. I hope we can revisit this as the case moves forward. But just so we're clear, I mean, Karen Reed doesn't have to release anything. I mean, she doesn't have to provide evidence that can be used against her. So let's just clear that up. All right, guys. Thanks so much, Aiden Carney, Grant Ellis. Appreciate you coming on.
Grant on the way out.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll continue to follow the Karen Reed case as it moves forward. That's it for this edition of Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll see you back here
look at
next
that timepiece gentleman. Whoa, I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. Wow, timepiece gentleman video. Look at that. Law and Crime Network did a wow. That's what I'm gonna have to do. That video on my channel has wow, look at this. They did this a day ago. That's something that we're gonna have to pull up and do. All right. Let's do one more. I got one more before we head out tonight, and I want to thank everybody for being over here to check out the new studio. I'm super excited, super happy. Still working through some bugs. I got my pro mic that I need to set up and get that all dialed in, and obviously get rid of this echo in here. We'll have some sound proofing going up, and to get some of the reflection in here. And I got things that are going to go up on the wall and really complete it. And then we'll get the second camera hooked up, and then hopefully we'll get everything lit correctly and start getting some live guests in here. So it's coming together. I got to get rid of this product demonstration thing because it keeps blurring me out and blurring me in. So I'm going to turn that off and got more camera settings to work out. But again, I appreciate everybody coming over here on the inaugural live stream tonight. We've kind of broken in the studio tonight. We're having some fun and hanging out. I feel like it can be a little bit more of myself now. I can be as loud as I want, and I won't disturb any neighbors. And right now, I'm solely the only person in this building tonight, which is great. So it's starting to feel like home here. But let's do this. Let's pull up one more video, and let's go through Aiden Carney, Turtle Boy's battle with Grant outside the courtroom. And I want to let everybody know, next week I am going to be available on Monday and Wednesday. So either I'm going to be live streaming the trial, or I definitely want to get down there on one of those days to support and shoot some video. We will continue to roll through and support down at the courthouse. All right, let's get through this video here. Let's check it out, about 2 minutes, and then we're going to wrap up this one for tonight. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it.
Oh, this is Grant's auntie.
Did Karen cut you off because you told Lindsay about Josh Levy?
Grant, I love what you did with your hair today. I just want to look at his hair. Hey, do you mind backing up a little bit? Look at the hair.
Look at the tattoo.
Why did you
bring
her?
Why did you bring her? I got a tap back there.
Why did you bring her today?
No, it's my initials.
Grant, is that your auntie girlfriend over there, Grant?
No, that's my auntie. It's not funny to joke about
Your auntie girl. Oh, I know it's not. Did you really beat her, Grant? Did you touch her? Should we start a GoFundMe for her? Is she a victim of you, Grant? Is she a victim of you? Auntie, what did he do to you? What did he do to you? Did he lay it? Do you want to GoFundMe? Do you want to GoFundMe? What did you do to her, Grant? What did you do to her? What are you doing?
Did you like that 8K?
What did you do, Grant? What did you do? What did you do to Auntie? Leave Auntie alone. Leave Auntie alone. Leave Auntie alone. There he is.
8K and 20.
Any comment? What you did?
Wow,
to Auntie?
you're not scaring me.
Auntie, what did he do to you, Auntie? What did he do?
Listen, you South. What are you, a State Street VP or something?
Yes. Grant, do you still need money for food?
Right now?
Yes.
No, my aunt got me a sandwich.
Oh, your aunt got her a sandwich. That's great.
What if she's a domestic violence victim? Do you think that's
She
funny?
is, because you touched her. Why did you do that to her, Grant? Sources are telling me. Developing story. Any comment? Any comment on that? FBI sources are telling me that you did this, Grant. Is this true? Is this true? Is this true? Is that true? FBI sources. FBI sources. Developing. Shocking news. Shocking news. Shocking news. We're shocking. Any questions, Grant? Grant, why aren't you answering any questions?
I want to know where Leah
Grant,
Pereira is.
where did you get that jacket from, Grant?
Every time I
Where
say
did you
the
get
name,
that?
he yells louder.
Did you get that as a gift, Grant?
Who's Leah
Did you get that
Pereira?
as a gift, Grant?
He's lost. He's
Did
lost.
you get that as a gift? Are you working for the FBI, Grant? Did the FBI give you that jacket, Grant? Did they give you that jacket, Grant?
Good stuff. Look at this. What's this?
I just brought my son out of
We already watched that. All right. Good stuff. Good 2.5 hour show. This chair is going to go. I hate it. It's driving me crazy. I feel like I'm being pitched forward. I got to get my old chair. I got to get the old chair in here. If not, I got to find a new one because this ain't going to cut it. This ain't going to cut it tonight. But I want to thank everybody for coming in, supporting the new studio here in this inaugural live stream. Again, we still have some bugs to work out. I'll probably come here maybe tomorrow night and try to work through some of those bugs. But I will continue to keep updating as much as I can. And I plan on going down next week, Monday or Wednesday, or at least maybe I'll split the day. I'll go down for one day and stream one day the trial, or if we're still in jury selection. We'll just have to see what happens. We'll have to see what happens. But strap in. It's going to be a very, very interesting case. And it's going to be a very interesting dynamic to see both sides and how this plays out in court, and ultimately how the jury is going to react to this case. I know how we all feel, but I think there's going to be a lot more that comes out in court. It always does. The truth will come out. The truth will come out. And I think the defense is just loaded and waiting to unravel. So I feel extremely confident that Karen's team will get this done. We'll get her exonerated, fully exonerated. And then again, we can start getting some justice for John O'Keefe, for the real people that committed the murder, committed his murder. And they will be in the position that Karen is in right now, and hopefully going to jail for the rest of their life. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate everybody being here, all my moderators, all my viewers, everybody that popped in and out of the stream, the new subscribers that came over, the supporters tonight that supported through Super Chat, Cash App, or Buy Me a Coffee. I do appreciate it. And I am looking forward to many, 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 many more live streams in this space. And we'll keep working through it, I promise you, and get this beautiful studio built out. It's been a lot of work, believe me. It was not easy. And there's still a lot of learning to do, but we're going to get to it. All right, I'm going to hit the outro, which is kind of the intro. I got to work on an outro, but we'll use the new intro tonight as the outro, and I will see everybody soon. Again, there's other cases I'm going to cover. I just saw another piece up on Timepiece Gentleman, which is great. That's a case that I've been covering here. Anthony Farrer, it's my top video on this channel, has over 120,000 views on it. So again, I will get back into doing some more of that. The P. Diddy stuff I want to get back into. And what else? I don't know. Many, many other things. We got a lot of things to do here. A lot of things. First, we get the studio built out. All right, everybody. I will see everybody soon. Have a good night. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Take the change and set the trap, run over me, it's time to die.